of the buzz, get your power stripped. I'm my own plug, you the socket. Let more punchlines, the trash in your pocket. That's you to stop it. More than rap, this composite, you got I rocket. See the variation? It don't matter black or white. Bring the drama, Perry Mason. I'm adjacent to the destined. Counting all my blessings while they selling their soul. No, you gotta be desperate like them housewives. Hear the real with my mouth wide. Paths going north, but they still hear the south side in me. These rappers are actors who giving out Emmys. Find me a Denny's looking proud of their penny without an Oscar. I'ma lay it proper. Father, this sound ironic. Didn't have a papa for most of my life. Foster home to home. Don't let me start. Comment tell me about real love. It starts in the heart, not the pants. Born without a chance. Probably met Destiny plenty times. And noticed when she glanced at me. When you dance with me, who would've known these dreamers become fans of me? Put up your hands for me. Touch the sky, the model we grew up with. Bumping that old Wayne, about to see if this truck fit in my garage. I'm kidding, no car, but I got drive. Even if I retire, never be top 5. I survived the rugged terrain. Determination in my brain, God help me find joy through the pain, gain clarity that I share to the masses. Same kid, they dreaming in classes. Future look disastrous. Time for the heroes and less fastest. Clean air, less gases. But y'all know what I'm trying to convey. Change streams, play games, watch a few anime. Found a path to be great, not a moment to waste. Mama check it, don't worry, I'm straight. We gon' take it to the top of the globe. Spread love, realest quote that I wrote. You know, sky's the limit. All my life I was sober. We surpassing that with each episode. The whole, a new episode. New day, a new episode. A new day, a new day, a new episode. A new day, a new episode. A new day, a new. Go ahead, let them throw that shade. You gotta wait to see the picture. Old Kodak days, don't go that way. They songs all filler, and they shows not at the museum. Fans never been stellar. Pendilla shows a route set score. I ain't trying to be known by a number like the kids next door. My lord, they want us in cages or the seats, cause we fresh to death. Cash get sharp every week. Cool me? I'm nothing but a kid from the boondocks, writing living color. Different world in my boombox, chilling in my afternoon socks with a cute thing. Excuse the missed call, didn't notice you rang. Sharp tongue from the heavens, we thinking outside of the box. They call him Stoop Kid, never lead his steps. No one knows of his woes, cause he keeps to himself in seclusion. But me, I had to find out his story, so I sat by his stoop. He said his name's Corey. Told me how he used to be in love with a dame, but she left about as fast as she came. Said the sky's never been the same. Air's less fresh, chemtrails blanket the sky, and we compressed to a perfect world that we created within the mind. We blind to the truth as the days unwind. He finds happiness and watch the time go by. He asked, do you know why? Cause at least I'll know when we die. Society's engulfed in trends, and it's hard to find friends when your vision ain't the same through the lens. A cleanse what we need, but our pride won't accept it. Love's like a precious baby girl, and I'm wishing that we kept it. Neglected all our principles, kids laughing at me every day. How conventional, all one-dimensional. I wish I was invincible, I would just fly away. Aim for the sun, hope to land in a higher place. That's my escape from reality. Life is a dream, but it seems we've been sleeping in ravines. For now, I'ma chill with the ranting. Sit up on my stoop while the kids keep chanting. Stoop kids afraid to leave the stoop. Stoop kids afraid to leave it. 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 Stoop. A tear rolls down his cheek. He asks, how did life become bleak? We used to seek joy, now we lost in translation of the language called money. I pity our generation. I told him I agree, but you looking at the downside. It's a bigger world outside the walls you hide, and I can guide you to a new state of mind if you let me. But hearts can't receive what the soul isn't ready for. Look, life is a metaphor. It's up to you to find a meaning. You can't stand for something if you steadily leaning on pillars of self-loathing. Imagine what you're missing in addition to beautiful life that you ain't even living. Places that you never been, people that you'll never meet. Happiness if you're willing to seek beyond the stoop of your seclusion, but really just a barrier to block away the image of a place much scarier called reality. But he stopped me mid-sentence, took a step down like a sinner doing repentance. Said he wanna take a chance, thanks for the referral. Safe to say this boy's gonna finally leave the world. So stoop kids gonna leave it. Stoop kids.
Are you ready?
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy. Dream on, yeah. Dream on, dream weaver out.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd Without Fear, back for another round of the Blerd Cave. We're back in this bish. What's going on, y'all? Hope y'all are doing well. Hope everyone's staying safe. And hopefully you are not as affected by all the craziness that's going on right now with COVID-19 and everything. We're not gonna spend a whole heap of a lot of time even talking about it because it's everywhere. It's all over the news. It's all over social media. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. And not only that, we talked about it last week. There's really no new information I can tell you that you can't possibly get from from another source that is far more knowledgeable about COVID-19 than myself. So we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna be business as usual. It's probably gonna be like one thing we're gonna talk about, and it's stuff there'll be, I guess, positive things that have come out of this, if there can ever really be anything positive that comes out of a worldwide pandemic. So there's that. I want to thank everybody who has shown up, everybody in the chat right now, my guys. My ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Staff Sergeant in here? I see my fam, Rain is in here. Let's see. B. Gillen in here. SM. Panther de Noir. Shaq B. Let's see. Lawrence is here. Cody K. SM. Wait, no, wait. I saw SM already. Up. Ty Sheem's in here. Steve. Up. My guy Chili's in here. Hide your wallets, y'all. A player named Gus is in here. Member of the Just Us League Alternative Factuals in the building. Man, how are y'all doing? I see Xavier's in here too. Vernon, what's going on? How are y'all doing? Like I said, once again, I just want to say it again because I feel like I haven't said it enough. But I just really hope. I just hope everyone's fine. I just hope everyone's fine. So far, my household has been possibly largely unaffected by it. So far so good. Everyone's happy, healthy in here. 4-year-old is great, so that's good news. And wife took the daughter fishing, so that's why we're here right now. I mean, we would have been here anyway, but I don't fish, so there you go. I don't like worms. Who knew? I might have to get over that, though. Let's see here. Okay, real quick, let's just go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and give you all the rundown because I feel like I don't do this enough. I never really give you all the rundown on what we're going to be talking about. So today's live stream, this Blerd Cave, we are going to be talking about the new Warriors. We will also be talking about some choice words that the director of the New Mutants movie had for Fox's Dark Phoenix movie. We'll also be talking about some good things that are coming out of the whole COVID-19 thing. We're also going to talk about some rumors that have popped up regarding some Sony movies related to the Marvel Universe. We're also going to address a rumor that Kevin Smith technically started about Daredevil that has already kind of gone squirrely. Some other MCU stuff. And I may or may not, I know some of y'all are aware that I used to work for GameStop. So, before all of this, I was formerly a GameStop employee, even, GameStop management, if you will. So I may talk about and give some personal thoughts about that too. But, let's get into these new Warriors. Okay, so first off, let's just Y'all can already tell I'm not excited about this. Y'all can already tell I'm not excited about this. Let's go ahead and just jump right in. Let's go ahead and just, we're not even going to dip the toe. We are going to just jump right the fuck in. Okay, let's start with the most obvious ones. Let's just start with the most obvious ones. Let's go ahead and get them out of the way so we can talk about it, and it never has to be talked about again. Well, it'll be talked about again most likely. Because depending on how this is going, I probably will be covering Outlawed, which they are going to be in, so they will likely come up. Anyway, so 2 of the new Warriors. Now, and all of these new Warriors, the new Warriors, the newer Warriors, they are all created by, I believe it's Dan Kibblesmith and Luciano Vecchio. And, yeah, it's not all good. So the characters in question you were looking at here, on the left, you've got Snowflake, who apparently Snowflake's powers, the reason why they're named Snowflake is because they have ice powers. They have cryogenic powers that allow them to create ice shurikens, is what they primarily use their power for, that are typically shaped like snowflakes. Now, that's also not the only reason why they are named Snowflake. They're also named Snowflake because and this is really the character that is the most that has caught the most ire from all corners of the internet. So before anyone starts saying, "Oh, the SJWs are eating this shit up," no, they're not. And I will actually go and further say we are not, because I have often been thrown the label of SJW, so I just wear it as a badge of honor, because being decent is not a bad thing. But that said, Snowflake's big issue, which is the one that's caught all the flack, is that Snowflake, A, the name, B, is a character who is non-binary. Now, not only are these characters of color, but these are also characters who are a part. I can't vouch for Safe Space. They haven't really said really what's up with Safe Space. However, Snowflake, and these characters are twins, but Snowflake is non-binary, which means they do not identify as either male or female, which, that's fine. I totally get it. I have a teenage child who is non-binary. That is fine. I'm totally used to it. It's a thing. It's not even a big deal in our house. It rarely, if ever, comes up unless they bring it up. But we don't really talk about it. We just treat them the way they want to be treated. And before anyone says, "Oh, it's just because, it's my kid." No, I'll spill some tea here. I don't really talk about my personal life a lot, but my stepchild and I do not get along. By any stretch of the imagination, my stepchild and I have the stereotypical Hollywood step-parent and stepchild from the 80s don't get along scenario. We do not like each other. We love each other, but we do not like each other. And we keep up appearances for my wife, but we do not get along. However, because I am a decent human being, I can still treat them how they would like to be treated and call them what they choose to be called. Now, that said, now that's out of the way. The character of Snowflake, the reason why they're called Snowflake, and this is coming from Dan Kibblesmith here, he says that it is because the characters of Snowflake, Safe Space, and other characters we'll get to here in a minute, Screen Time, Trailblazer, they are taking these names that are typically used as a negative, like these names that are considered cut downs. They are derogatory. They're taking them, and here's the argument that was made. They're taking them and, I guess in a sense, taking them back. Now, Dan Kibblesmith did not outwardly say that it's the same as black people taking racial slurs and taking them back and using them in the same way that some would say that we use the N-word. He didn't say that. However, he did say something along the lines of, it is similar to how people of color take racial slurs and use them as colloquialisms, like because they have taken them back from their oppressors, so on and so forth. So, like I said, I totally get it. I get it. I get the idea. Like basically what he went before anyone says anything about me getting it. I get what they're going for. However, I don't agree with the person doing it. And it just, I don't know. Like to kind of go, like let's move over to the article that we got here. This is from comicbookresources.com. And here, boom, there we go. So like I said, this is comicbookresources.com right here. And to kind of, I'm going to read some quotes. We're going to read some quotes here. These are all coming from Dan Kibblesmith, where he basically says, just basically what I said, just kind of to reiterate, says, yeah, Snowflake, non-binary, and goes by they, them. Those are the pronouns they use, and has the power to generate individual crystallized snowflake-shaped shurikens. Okay, cool, whatever. The connotation, like, honestly, Snowflake would be, like, regardless of the name, would be an anime character in any other anime. There is probably a character somewhere in My Hero Academia who could do the same shit, and would probably even be named the same thing, and no one would say shit. But he says that the connotations of the word snowflake in our culture right now are something fragile, and this is a character who is turning it into something sharp. Which, okay, once again, I see the idea. I see where he thought this was a good idea. But see, this is why you need people in the room who represent the things that you yourself are going to be doing. If you are not of that community or not of that culture, you should probably have people in the room assisting you and helping you and maybe taking the lead in a lot of cases on stuff like this. Because he probably would have been told real quick, no. But yeah, he says, Snowflake is the person who has the more offensive power, and Safe Space, who is the one on the right, is the person who has the more defensive power. And the idea is that they would mirror each other and complement each other. And then he goes on to say that Snowflake and Safe Space, that basically they see being superheroes as a post-ironic meditation on using violence to combat bullying. They know that the names are negative, but once again, they're using it in a ironic way. It's kind of like how I don't really have any good examples to come up with off the top of my head, but it's kind of like it's basically when people they give themselves a name, or they take on a name or a persona that is, yeah, it's technically a parody of themselves, but they're trying to take it and turn it into something else. And I understand it, I get it. It's probably not a good idea. But yes, it basically says that Snowflake, Safe Space, their names are very similar to another character by the name of Screen Time, and it's this idea that these are terms that get thrown around the internet that they don't see as derogatory. They take those words and kind of wear them as badges of honor. Now, one thing I didn't address here, talking about Safe Space and his powers, I don't think we even really know exactly what his powers is. I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's something along the lines of force fields. That is what it kind of seems like. They say his power is more defensive, so making force fields or just being, I guess, durable would probably be a thing for him. But yeah, and like I said, this is where you start getting into some of the other characters. Like, now, before we get into screen time, I kind of want to go back. To this picture here. Look. I don't honestly care if the characters that they make are gay, trans, non-binary, gender fluid, lesbian, whatever. I don't care. I really don't care. And this is something that I think I talk about in the comments a lot on a lot of my videos when people bring stuff like this up. The thing that I least care about in a fictional character is who they are fucking. I don't care, because that is the thing that I think people tend to over-focus on when LGBTQ characters come up. That's the thing people tend to focus on. Almost every, at least, maybe not so much like face-to-face in the really real world, IRL, but online. That is what I notice. And maybe it's, and once again, I'm a content creator, so I get a lot of different opinions from a lot of different places, so I probably deal with it more than y'all do. Maybe I wouldn't say as much as, people who are actually of those communities, but just on average. So I get to hear some of the most, on average, as a YouTuber, I am usually a privy to some of the most racist, most sexist, most misogynist, most homophobic, transphobic, all the phobics you can think of, statements that you'll probably ever hear in your life. I honestly, it's got to the point now, I'm just like, wow, the world really is full of shitty people. However, and I'm not saying people just saying, oh, I don't like this. I'm saying people literally saying, people literally saying things along the lines of, all gay people need to be killed, or all black people are mud monkeys and shit like that. Like, I'm talking about shit like that. I'm not just saying someone just simply disagrees with something. I'm saying people actually hardcore, doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on really racist, phobic behavior. So I don't care about any of that stuff. Like, characters, who they like, who they dislike. Because at the end of the day, I've never known a gay, lesbian, trans, whatever person whose entire life or personality was centered around who they are fucking. It's not a thing for me. I've never seen this. I've never known any person from the LGBTQ community, and God knows I know plenty. I have LGBTQ people in my family. I have close friends. I have associates, acquaintances, collaborators, all of the above. I would say coworkers, but I don't work a normal job, so I don't really have coworkers. But not a single one of them, not a single one of them's personality is based on who they sleep with. But that's the thing people tend to focus on. They tend to focus on, oh, well, this character's like, I remember, case in point, best example, Batwoman. I remember when the Batwoman trailer came out, and one of the most common comments I saw was, oh, I don't see how she's going to have time to fight crime. She's going to be too busy eating pussy. And I'm just like, lesbians don't have sex more than straight people do. There's actually a thing called the lesbian deathbed, for those who don't know. And basically what that means is that over time, just like any other relationship, you stop fucking each other. Because, you kind of like you hear that old saying that you show me a beautiful woman and I'll show you a guy that's tired of fucking her. That applies to gay and lesbian people too. That applies to gay and lesbian people too. I could just as easily say, you show me a handsome guy and I'll show you his boyfriend who's tired of fucking him. Same for women. You show me a hot lesbian chick and I will show you a woman who's sick and tired of her shit and tired of fucking her. I could point this out to anybody. I've seen this happen to my friends and even to my family. So that said, let's get that out of the way. I use these to say that talking about my relationship with my stepchild, talking about my relationship with other people and how I view things, that was all in aid of saying that when I say I don't like this, it is not because Snowflake is non-binary. Has nothing to do with that. It's not because Safe Space, they don't even say Safe Space is non-binary. They don't say, they don't bring up anything about its pronouns or anything like that. I don't care about any of that stuff because honestly, I feel that you treat people the way you would want to be treated. My name is Ernie. You know what really pisses me off? When someone calls me something else. If someone tries to call, like when people call me Eric, or people call me, I can't think of another name. But anyway, point of the matter is, you wouldn't want someone to walk up to you and call you out of your name. So why call someone else out of their name? That's kind of how I feel about it. Like, it's the golden rule. Regardless of what you think about the person, their beliefs, their whatever, their sexuality, their, whatever, you treat people the way they want to be treated. So a non-binary character is the least egregious thing to me. It's like, okay, whatever, fine. You don't want to be called he or she. You want to be called they or them, whatever. I don't care. Honestly, even before all this non-binary stuff was going on, I typically just called people they, because it's just what I always did. I never, especially in a lot of cases, some circles that I hung out in, you never really knew. I used to hang out in punk rock and goth scenes, and sometimes the dudes dressed a little bit more like girls and were a little more feminine, and sometimes the girls were a little more masculine and, presented themselves in ways that would maybe make you think that they are men, but they are not. It's a thing. I don't care. I really don't. I really don't care. It's not a thing for me. So my problem is the fact that, okay, let's address the real issue here. The real issue is that it's the creator. That is where my problem lies, because I don't know if you all know who Dan Kibblesmith is. Or Luciano Vecchio. But I'm more focusing on Dan Kibblesmith because he's the writer and he is the Luciano Vecchio designs the characters, but I'm sure Dan Kibblesmith has a little more say in all the other shit about said character. And let's see here. Okay, so let's take a look at Dan Kibblesmith. We're going to open this up in a new tab. So that is Dan Kibblesmith. He is a straight, white, cisgender male. And when I say cisgender, basically, for those who don't know what that means, basically means that he identifies as the gender that he was born with. So he is a male. This isn't like a switcheroo or like that. He is exactly what I say. It's just like how I am a straight, black, cisgender male. That's not a negative thing. He is a straight, white, cisgender male. That's just what we're going to go with. And there seems to be a Twitter thread right now trying to debate whether or not he's Jewish. I don't care about that. Point of the matter is, he's probably not the best person to be creating a character of color, much less an LGBTQIA character. I'm just throwing that out there for those that are curious. I don't think he is the best person. Now, and you know what? And just to make sure, because I want people to see that I'm being fair, I want people to recognize me as being fair to him in my criticism. So, a ways back when the Blerd Cave first started, we got to talking about my personal writing projects. And someone was like, hey, one of the ideas I threw out was about and nobody steal my idea. You'll probably do it anyway. I don't care. There's no ideas original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done. That's a little Nas for you. A little nasty Nas for you. And I'm not talking about Lil Nas X. I'm talking about Nasir Jones. But anyways, but I was talking to another creative about a character that I was making, who were a couple who were they both were like ancient African characters. They were immortals, essentially, who had been alive for a long time, and they were in love with each other, and their bond they were just bonded. But their bond was so strong that they could merge together and become one being. And that's how they became like uber powerful. And essentially they turned into if you really want to talk about it in the grossest, most simplistic terms, they turned into a very Wonder Woman-esque character. But depending on what was going on, depending on which together they became like technically a non-binary character. And this was one of those situations where also, because it's actually more influenced by Tokusatsu that I really like. Specifically a season of Kamen Rider called Kamen Rider Double. And in that, two men come together to make one Kamen Rider. And depending on what's going on, one of them can be the more dominant personality and would have more control in their union. And that was also a part of it. So, like, sometimes the male persona was more dominant, so the character would look more male. And in the feminine personality was more dominant, then the feminine character would look more feminine. And someone said, "Oh, you are not the person to be telling that story. You should leave stuff like that to people who are of the community." And this is to where I said, "You know what? I'm not doing it on my own. It's not an idea that I came up with on my own. It was an idea that was given to me by people from the LGBTQ community." So I'm going to go ahead and say on a limb, maybe someone gave him the idea and someone gave him the blessing. But the thing is, I would not, and I think the thing that people don't think about is that's not something I would have done totally on my own willy-nilly. I am just one person. I would have brought in other people to actually put influence on that character and make sure it's done correctly and done right and not done in a way that would be considered offensive. That's how you handle business. That is how you handle creativity. I mean, yes, I think that creativity should be free to be expressed however you choose, but you should also be aware that people are free to critique you in any way they see fit. And that's kind of how I feel in this situation. I don't feel like Dan Kibblesmith actually got anybody's blessing. I don't think he consulted with anyone, over any of this. And, I mean, it's obvious. It's incredibly obvious that he did not. But yeah, that's just me. That is just me being 100% real about the whole situation. So yeah, and for Claro here, I can pretty much tell you that. What's going on, Salt? See, I see you in here. I assure you he did not. Yeah, no, I guarantee you he didn't. I guarantee you that he didn't. I guarantee you that he didn't. Oh, another, Weeby and Geeky brought up Steven Universe. There you go. Steven Universe, that character. That character is full of all kinds of LGBTQIA. Not the character, but the series is full of all sorts of LGBTQIA representation. That's about the only word I can think of right now that just comes to mind. But yeah, but that's kind of my thing. Just so I don't want anyone to think that I am being unfair or just like I'm just being I'm being an asshole about this whole thing. Like that's not what this is. Because I know and the reason and probably one of the reasons why I feel like I'm trying to preface all this is because or just further explain all this is because there are going to be bad actors out there. There are going to be people out there, content creators. As a matter of fact, all this week, that's all a lot of my other, YouTube peers have been talking about is this, and basically using it as a lightning rod to attract your comics gators, and just overall general shitty human beings, and try and get them riled up, and get and basically just and use that as a way to drive clicks and views and all that other sort of shit. And you know what? If that's your grift, fine, whatever. But it ain't mine, and I'm not prescribing to that. But I just want to let it be known. The last thing I give a shit about is what the pronouns are, or what they want to be called, or whatever. But here's the thing. I can't judge the character. I can judge the character design. I can judge the name. I can even judge whether or not this was probably not a good look. As far as first impressions go. But here's the thing, I can't judge the character. Because I don't know who they are yet. I haven't read a single issue of the new Warriors comic that I believe comes out next month, I believe. So yeah, I can't. I literally can't. I just can't. It would be unfair. It would be unfair for me. It would be unfair for me to say, oh, this is the worst character ever. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Like a lot of people have been asking me on Twitter and elsewhere saying, hey, what do you think about Snowflake and Safe Space? I was like, I think, and I think my answer's been the same every time. I think the names are dumb. But I can't say anything beyond that because I haven't read it. I'm going to reserve full judgment until I read it. And I'm going to read it. I read New Warriors in the 90s. I will read it today. I'm going to give it a fair shake. I'm going to give it 5 issues, maybe 3, depending on how good or bad it is. I usually like to give creative teams a chance to tell me the first story. I think a lot of you know for a fact that who follow my X-Men stuff. I gave all of the Dawn of X titles 5 issues. All of them. I gave New Mutants 5 issues, Excalibur 5 issues. I even gave Fallen Angels 5 issues. I gave, and y'all know how I felt about Fallen Angels. I thought that comic was not good at all. And I gave X-Force, which I didn't even have to give X-Force 5 issues. They got me at 1. I gave X-Men 5 issues, which, to be fair, they kind of got me. Actually, I'll be fair. It actually took the 3rd issue to get me. And Marauders got me from issue number 1. So that's the thing. Just so you understand how I operate, it's the same way I treat TV shows. I give TV shows about 4 or 5 episodes to get me. Yeah, I'll give it 4 or 5 episodes, and unless it's just absolutely bad from the outset. I mean, hell, if I didn't have that mentality, I never would have fallen in love with one of my favorite TV shows, Parks and Rec. Because I'm going to be honest, the first 2 or 3 episodes of Parks and Rec, not particularly the best television I've ever seen. So, but yeah, I mean, my whole thing is that you can't, here's the thing. So, and let's actually address that real quick. I'll actually address that deleted comment, because here's the thing. Even though you're timed out and you can't say shit right now, I think it's actually worse. Like, this whole, like, ire, this hatred, nobody hates LGBTQ like people of color do. And I'm not saying that there are more LGBTQ people that are hated by people of color. What I'm saying is people of color tend to be really ugly about it. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why I feel that way. It is because of comments like that. When people say, why do all black men have to be fit? Well, here's the thing. People exist in all types. Do you know how many straight black male heroes there are? How many there have been? There have been a lot. There actually aren't that many gay, bi, trans, whatever. Not that many of them, really, compared to how many straight ones there are. People exist in all types. And here's the thing. Gay people, not a new thing. Gay people have existed since the dawn of time. Lesbian people, dawn of time. The trans community is not new at all by any stretch of the imagination. Trans people have existed for ages, for centuries. I would dare say thousands of years. Just because you're learning about it today, it seems like it's all new and, oh my God, they're everywhere. No, they've always been everywhere. They just get representation now. The societal norms that you are used to are not thousands of years old. They are, at best, maybe 100, couple of hundred, maybe even 300 years old. And that's only really exclusive to America, if that makes any sense. Stuff like this is actually incredibly commonplace in other parts of the world throughout history. So, that is my addressing of that, and I am moving on. Even getting out of that whole thing. You're funny. You're funny, Todd. You are funny. I would definitely say that you can take a look at these characters for all that they are. I would just say the reasoning behind them, not very intelligently done. That said, let's take a look at the next one. The next one being a character by the name of Screen Time. Now, Screen Time hasn't gotten as much ire because, well, as far as we know, we don't really know anything about him. outside of the fact that apparently he is always connected to the internet. Like, he can access the internet in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Hence his name, Screen Time. It's supposed to be a play on... the terminology of kids having screen time, being able to use their tablets, their phones, their video games. Honestly, the concept of the character, once again, and I just want to point this out. All of these new warriors, they would all fit in perfectly in the world of My Hero Academia, and no one would say shit. If these characters showed up in My Hero Academia, y'all motherfuckers would be talking about how awesome they are. No one would say a goddamn thing about any of them. They would just eat that shit up, and it would be like everything is awesome. However, because they are American-made characters, because they draw this correlation, people are going to criticize. Now, Screen Time, his origin, dumb. Apparently, he inhales some gas that his grandfather made, and that's how he gets his powers. Kind of a dumb character origin, if you ask me. Power, not so much. Name, whatever. There's really not even much to say about him. Screen Time is largely, to me, inoffensive. But I will say, nice to have a new Asian hero, so I'll take that. I appreciate the Geordie LaForge glasses. I'll take it. Yeah, it is what it is. He's very cyberpunk looking, and I'm here for it. So, that said, let's move on to the next one. And that is Trailblazer. Now, Trailblazer, this one is interesting to me, if for no other reason than I don't think anyone's really come out and said one way or the other whether Trailblazer is Hispanic or Native American. I don't think that's actually been addressed yet. So, the funny thing about it is it actually could go one of a couple ways. Now, I am all for them creating a body-positive superhero. That's fine. I actually like that's actually one of the only comics from the Valiant line that I actually enjoy is a comic by the name of Faith. It's actually funny to me. Because Faith is I guess a plus-size female superhero, and she's actually treated like anybody else. She has her moments and things of that nature where I guess there are some things that maybe correlate to her size that may be addressed in her comics, but for the most part, she's treated like she's anybody else. So I'm fine with that. That is fine. However, the problem with Trailblazer is that it can kind of come down to the power set. So basically, you can see on her back, she has like this really funky looking backpack. And basically what that is for is that she has this backpack that essentially is a bag of holding. Those of you who have ever played Dungeons & Dragons, you probably know what I'm talking about, but basically it is a bag that basically you can basically reach into. It kind of transports to like a pocket dimension or alternate dimension, whatever, and she can put an infinite number of things in it or take an infinite number of things out of it. Now, if this character is Hispanic, then that means that Dora the Explorer has officially become part of the Marvel Comics universe. And if that is the case, I expect Dora the Explorer jokes. I want Dora the Explorer shenanigans. I want her to say something, ask a question, and stare at the audience and wait for a response. If that doesn't happen, then what was all this for? There is some possible negative connotation if the character is Native American. The name would be a little too on the nose. But yeah, exactly. So there you go. But that said, I'm actually going to move on to a character I don't really have any negative opinion about. It's actually the one character so far they had brought up in these new warriors who I'm perfectly fine with. And that is B negative. Now, the name, not a good name. However, I actually appreciate a good throwback. And personally, I like vampires. So, I'm all for vampires being in comics. And B negative is essentially a vampire-esque character. I believe the origin, if I remember correctly, is that much in the same vein as the character She-Hulk, Jennifer Walters, she got a blood transfusion from her cousin, Bruce Banner. Thus, she becomes She-Hulk. B negative is kind of in the same vein where he gets a blood transfusion with the character Michael Morbius. So there's that. Now, here is where I think things are funny. You will probably notice that right here, and I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. You'll probably notice that right here, you see those little circles on the hand. These are a direct reference to the 1990s Spider-Man cartoon. So he doesn't actually drain blood through his fangs. He drains them through his hands like Michael Morbius did on the Spider-Man cartoon. This is actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think Luciano Vecchio said something along the lines of it was literally a direct reference to that. So, whatever. That's cool. I appreciate a good throwback like anybody else probably does. I'm fine with that. Of any of these 5 new characters, I find him the most interesting. Now it could be because I have a love of vampires. Do I think his name is good? Not particularly. Do I think his origin is original? No, I don't. But most origins aren't. So there. Point of the matter is, I don't think it should matter. I can't just trash these characters if I haven't read them. And I'll say it again. I'll say the same thing for this character that I would have said for any of these characters. If they showed up on My Hero Academia, no one would say shit. They would fit right in. And and honestly, I don't even judge the names. Even though I don't like the names, I don't even judge names that harshly because characters in anime have dumb names, like stupid dumb names. If characters in anime have if they ever have like a code name, it's usually something stupid. By the way, Alfonso, thank you for that super chat. You said, what are your thoughts on My Heroes, Gentle and La Brava if you're watching / reading? I am actually playing catch up on My Hero Academia. I've actually not, but I tell you what, I can give you my first appearance thoughts. Let's see here. Looks like these are villains. Let's see here. Okay, so basically, La Brava is essentially a side villain who is a hacker. Okay, yeah, there you go. I probably feel about, apparently her quirk is to bestow a power boost to the person whom she loves most by telling the recipient how much she loves them. The amount of power her loved one receives increases with the intensity of her love, and the power boost will only last for a limited time. And she can only activate this quirk once per day. That is kind of dumb. That is honestly one of the dumber powers on My Hero Academia. I'm sure it's used very effectively. Let's look at, okay, so Danjiro, who is gentle. His quirk is elasticity. Okay, so basically he's Mr. Fantastic. And apparently he's incredibly intelligent. So yes, this is straight up okay. The funny thing about My Hero Academia too is that Horikoshi, the gentleman behind My Hero Academia, he's unabashedly open about the fact that he is a huge fan of Marvel Comics. All of his characters are references in some way, shape, form, or fashion to a Marvel Comics character, whether that's in their power set, their personality, their look, whatever. So yeah, this is not surprising. Basically, he can, but this is, I guess, in the sense of Mr. Fantastic, instead of maybe so much doing it to himself, so much as he can do this to other things, which is kind of how you get around the whole, hey, that's Mr. Fantastic. But basically, yeah, he can basically make anything he touches elastic. Whether it's stretchable, bendy, bouncy, whatever. And, let's see. Oh, and apparently he can do this to the air itself. Let's see. I mean, yeah, that's probably a more interesting character, but as far as, like, I can't say anything about their personalities or anything like that, but I mean, just based on first appearances, I think Gentle looks interesting. I think he looks interesting. La Brava, not so much. I think La Brava is a bit much, if I had to say so myself. But anyways, but yeah, but that's the thing. That is the thing. So they're bad guys, but not bad guys. So you so we talking Zangief from from Wreck-It Ralph. Just because you are a bad guy does not make you bad guy. Something like that. Okay. And like I said, once again, I want to point this out. If these this is the last time I'll say it, but if any of these characters were on My Hero Academia or in any other anime, nobody would say shit. Because I'm going to go and tell you right now, one of my favorite characters from My Hero Academia is Sue, who goes by the name of Froppy, which is a dumb fucking name. And she has, guess what? A dumb fucking power. But you know what? I still like her. Because I have seen this character's personality and I find her entertaining. I don't give a fuck about her powers. It's the same reason I like Squirrel Girl, which honestly, all Froppy is anime Squirrel Girl. Horikoshi has been open about that too, even down to like how he describes Froppy's powers, which is basically she can do whatever a frog can, which is the exact power set of Squirrel Girl. So there you go. Froppy is literally anime Squirrel Girl. They're characters who their powers are kind of dumb. However, their personalities are what sell them. Going beyond that, hell, there are X-Men with dumb names. There are plenty of X-Men with dumb names. Wolverine, a dumb name. Wolverines are, anyway. Point of the matter is, moving along, we are going to talk about a little something that's going on with them New Mutants. So, New Mutants director Josh Boone says you can only go up after Dark Phoenix. This was a statement he made very recently when he was talking to Empire. And basically, he kind of, let's just go and be fair. Dark Phoenix, we're out of the woods on that one. Fox is really, at least 20th Century Fox as we know it, is no longer a thing. He can kind of get away with saying this because who's going to fire him? No one. But basically what he was saying is during an interview with Empire, he was asked if he felt any extra pressure after the critical and commercial failure of director Simon Kinberg's Dark Phoenix, and he makes it clear that's not something he's worried about. He says that, look, you can only go up after Dark Phoenix. That's not to say anything bad about the people involved, but it was what it was. And honestly, I feel less pressure now than I did ahead of the first slated release date, because we've tested our movie so many times, and audiences have loved it. So basically what he's saying there is, yeah, that. Exactly that. It is what it is. And now, did I hate the Dark Phoenix movie? No, I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine. Is it a good movie? No. Is it a bad movie? No, not really. Is it boring? No, it didn't bore me. Was I entertained? For the most part. I refuse to be hyperbolic about a movie, about a piece of media, because it just, being extra about whether you like or dislike something is, I don't know, that's your thing, but it's not me. Ask my wife. We actually were talking about this yesterday in regards to her sister, who we kind of share a common quality that we don't get excited about things. And when we do get excited about things, we're usually really excited about it, but we're never like anime extra. We're not like Ida on My Hero Academia. But we're just kind of like, yeah, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm like, there's a reason why I identify so heavily with the character Shikamaru on Naruto, is because that's my personality. I mean, yeah, am I animated on videos? Yeah, but I'm never like a lot of people say, oh, you're being extra. No, this is me at my norm. Ask anyone who's actually personally hung out with me, you'll see that. Let's see. But yeah, that said, you can be hyperbolic about it all you want, but I mean, at the end of the day, what are you helping? Like, what are you saving? What are you, I mean, I don't know, just, it's not a thing. I mean, case in point, we were actually talking about this the other day. My wife and I, we were talking about Rob Zombie movies for whatever reason. And, I remember. We had recently, by the way, if you do not already have the subscription to the app Shudder, which is a horror movie streaming service, which for those of you who know me personally, y'all know that I'm a huge fan of horror movies. I absolutely fucking love them. I watch horror movies year-round, day in, day out. I even go to sleep sometimes to horror movies. I put on a horror movie while I go to sleep at night, and I'm just like, makes me feel good. But anyways, point of the matter is, Shudder is giving out free 1-month subscriptions during this whole COVID-19 thing. And I'll talk more about that here in a minute. But we were going through the app, and my wife brought up the whole, I wonder if it's worth watching the sequel to The Devil's Rejects. And that led to a tirade of me talking about how much I hate Rob Zombie directed movies. And these are movies that universally most people really like. And I was like, yeah, I think that House of a Thousand Corpses was wild trash. If I would not have paid good money, I would have gotten up and walked out of the theater. I actually purposefully went to sleep in the theater. So I was like, this movie's fucking dumb. And I went to sleep. The next movie that he did after that, God, was it? Yeah, I think he did The Devil's Rejects, I think, shortly thereafter. And I thought that was dumb, too. I thought it was the dumbest movie I've ever seen in my life, short of House of a Thousand Corpses. And then, what was it? And then it wasn't until he made his first Halloween remake where I was like, oh, okay, this is actually not bad. It's not perfect, but it's not bad either. And then he made the second one. And I was like, this is the worst movie he's ever made. And then he kept making movies. He just kept making them. He just kept making them. He just kept making them. Point of the matter is, as much as I hate those movies, I'm just like, yeah, this is how I talk about them. I don't get that hyperbolic about it. I'm just like, yeah, I just don't like it. Hatsuma Shinobu says, the only good reason to watch most of Rob Zombie's movies is his wife. Yeah, Sherry Moon Zombie. And here's the thing. She's actually my least favorite part of his movies a lot of times. And the only reason I actually liked Halloween, the first one, was because she wasn't even in it very much. But she was used so well. But yeah, she's hot, but it's like I can Google image search her if I need that. But that said, yeah, just no, not at all, not at all, not at all. But yeah, dude, as far as like, yeah, New Mutants, do I think New Mutants is going to be bad? Nah, I don't think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be just fine. I mean, it's a comic book movie made by someone who clearly understands what made some of those movies, not good. Someone who clearly understands that, hey, maybe we should actually, give our best effort here. If that's the case, then yeah, sure. I'm all for it. I want to see it. I want to see what they do and how they pull this off. I want this movie to succeed, because here's the thing. And this is why I don't subscribe to hating things out of thin air, sight unseen, without having actually experienced them for myself. Here's the problem with that. When you do that, it's just honestly, that's just being negative, and I'm not a negative person. But like how I spoke about those Rob Zombie movies, I didn't shit on them without seeing them. Just like how I refused to shit on Dark Phoenix without actually seeing it, and there are lots of people who did that, and people who are doing that currently. And still do, because that just makes you disingenuous. And I don't like liars. But my thing is, I never want a movie to fail. I never want a comic to fail. I never want an artist album to fail, because if they fail, that increases the chances that they don't do it again. Now, in some instances, do I want certain things to fail because it'll teach them a lesson? Yeah, sometimes, but I still want it to be successful, because here's the thing. Kevin Feige said it best. When superhero movies fail, even if they're not Marvel movies, all it does is hurt the genre and makes it less likely that people take chances in the future. Like, a lot of people talk about how, the Marvel movies don't take chances. I want to direct you to a little movie by the name of Black Panther, where they literally talked about white people being colonizers. That was a risk. You may think it wasn't a risk. That was a risk. They took a chance on making a movie that had an all-black cast saved for maybe 2 or 3 people in main roles. Captain Marvel was a risk. It was not not in terms of because of the hate campaign behind it, but like just the fact that it was a female-led superhero movie and they are untested. They universally don't do that well. Wonder Woman is one of the few. And there aren't even that many to go off of. Like most super hero movies that are led by women have, going back to the past up to the present, typically don't do very well in theaters. So yeah, it was a risk. You may think that they are not taking risks, but I mean they are taking a risk. It just may not be the risk you want them to take, but that doesn't mean they're not being risky. Hell, making a movie about a fucking talking tree and a talking raccoon was risky. Banking your entire Marvel Cinematic Universe on a villain that most people didn't know outside of the comic community was risky. You may think that they're not taking risks, but yeah, they are taking risk. They may not be the ones you want, but they are the risk that they are taking. Let's see here. Yeah, no, and I agree. And We Being Geeky, I agree on that one. The Captain Marvel hate campaign was not the Captain Marvel hate campaign was only big to people who hang out on the internet all day. If you were on Twitter 24/7 and on YouTube 24/7 and just all you did was look for, I don't know, negative, hateful content. That's the only way I can put it. That's really the only way it was all over the place. Because if you didn't follow any of those channels, you probably didn't know what was going on. I only knew about it just because I did videos on Captain Marvel and I caught a ton of hate for doing them. And that's because, and like I tell people all the time, I don't cover things on this channel that I don't like. So if you see me do a video for something, it's because I like it. Genuinely like it. And I'll be the first to admit, I like Captain Marvel in all of its incarnations. I don't care whether we're talking about Shazam. I don't care whether we're talking about Marvel. I don't care whether we're talking about Monica Rambeau or Genus Vell or Phyla Vell or Carol Danvers. I like all of them. And I even liked Carol Danvers before she was Captain Marvel. So, the point of the matter is, that's what I like. So, I knew about it because of that. That's why I knew about it. But yeah, most people didn't even know. In hell, the few people that probably did know about it because they caught some shrapnel on the periphery, they probably went to go see it out of morbid curiosity. And then we're like, oh, well, why? Most people I know that went to go see it were like, oh, well, why are people shitting on this? This movie is largely inoffensive. To most people, it was just okay. And to me, I enjoyed it enough. I saw it 3 times in the theater in one weekend. But let's talk about some. This is going to be the most we're going to talk about the whole COVID-19 thing, because this is actually more in relation to some positives that are coming out of it, because there are a lot of negatives right now. Negatives strictly being that it's impacted a lot of businesses. Those of you who follow me on Twitch or elsewhere, you probably heard we did a stream last night on twitch.tv/nerd901 because we were doing a benefit. We were trying to raise money for the Memphis Food Bank, other organizations that are helping people who are suffering from COVID-19. We were also trying to help local restaurant and service industry workers, because a lot of restaurants have shut down, a lot of bars have shut down, and there are a lot of people that are kind of in a rough spot right now. So we were putting together links to the Venmo and Cash Apps pages for Memphis Food Bank and these other organizations, as well as these individuals who have been affected by it. And I guess it probably would not be the worst idea in the world if I actually maybe gave y'all a little bit more of that information. If you want to. It's up to you if you want to. It was literally just me and some close friends of mine who I work with in Nerd 901. And nope, I did not want that. Mute that. We do not want that. Here, let me get out of this and close that. But yeah, I'll drop the link. I'll drop the link to the stream if you want to go back and watch it. That's fine. If not, suit yourself, whatever. But we do this ever so often. We'll raise money for we'll raise money for charitable causes. We'll raise money for St. Jude, Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. We did like a 24-hour stream. Some of y'all probably are familiar. Did a 24-hour stream last year, to benefit Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. And we did another, not a 24-hour stream, but we did a board game stream earlier this year for the benefit of St. Jude. And we did this one just for, local reasons. But that said, we had a good time. We had fun. But beyond that, there's a lot of people have been affected by it. And another thing that's been affected by it, not just restaurant industries, but comic book stores have been affected by this as well. And not that long ago, maybe within the last couple of days, I want to say. Within the last couple of days, Image Comics had offered to do returns. They had offered to do returns for, and actually, let me see, I think I might actually have, no, I actually don't have that article up, but that part's not important. Point of the matter is that they offered returns and cancellations of non-essential releases. So basically, like, issues that they just felt weren't driving forces, weren't big sales drivers. They just said, hey, you can freely cancel these books. So you don't have all this stock in your inventory that's not going to go anywhere. And they challenged Image Comics, which, by the way, I've said this multiple times, but I'll say it again every time. People always have this weird tribalism when it comes to comic companies. People are like, oh, I'm a DC guy, fuck Marvel. I'm a Marvel guy, fuck DC. And I'm like this, look, Marvel and DC are both fighting for second place. Image Comics has the best comics out there, hands down. Second place is not even close. So there you go. But Image laid the gauntlet down and said that they challenged, matter of fact, the publisher of Image Comics, he challenged Marvel and DC and other comic book companies to offer retailers the same. And as a result of this, Devil's Due Comics, they made their entire digital library free to download. Aftershock has delayed shipments of their upcoming titles, so it doesn't affect comic book stores. And Comixology has offered a 60-day free trial of their unlimited program. And Marvel, DC has yet to do anything. But Marvel, at least as far as I'm aware, but Marvel has basically come out and said that they're going to be offering discounts on all of their titles to help support retailers. So that way the retailers aren't taking as big of a hit as what they normally would. It's not the same as what Image is doing in regards to cancellations and stuff like that, offering them those cancellations, but it is something. It's not a return extension. It's not, extended cancellations, but I mean, it's something more than what most people are doing right now. But basically Marvel Entertainment's, president Dan Buckley said that, there will be, that's not just the only thing, there will be other things they're going to be doing, but from March 18th to April 8th, all Marvel titles will have deep discounts in addition to the usual retailer discounts in order to help support retailers and customer demand. So that's a thing. That is a thing. And yeah, they say, hey, and also they're not going to penalize the retailers if they decrease their orders or anything like that. For those of you who've ever worked in a comic book store or just know a little bit more about the insider baseball on comic book stores, is that sometimes there can be some issues with getting shipments of stuff, or publishers kind of putting you on a back burner if your orders aren't as big, or whatever. That can be a thing. So I was really happy to hear this. This is good news. It's good news. It's not like anything earth-shattering, but I mean, it's something. It's a start. But anyway, point of the matter is, let's see here. There is some other good news coming out of all this. This is actually some news that came out. This is actually some news that came out way earlier. We know that some movies are getting early releases. Some movies are getting early releases on VOD. So to kind of combat the movie theater chains that are closing down and shutting down temporarily as a result of all this. Disney has released their most recent movie, Onward. Onward has been made available for video on demand. The movie that's starring Chris Pratt and Tom Holland, which is really interesting that they did that. I thought that was really cool. The movie Sonic the Hedgehog apparently is going to be coming to home video, and it literally came out last month. This movie came out in February. It is going to be available. They are going to be making it available to purchase as soon as March 31st. And it will be available to buy on it'll be available to buy on like 4K, Blu-ray, and regular Blu-ray, DVD, whatever, and rental on May the 19th. But you will be able to buy it on video on demand as early as March 31st. So that was actually really cool of them to do that. Other movies have done this as well. The Invisible Man, which I'm really interested in seeing, did it. The other movie, what was it? The Hunt, which is that really weird movie that was causing all kinds of controversy. Controversy! Because it had some people thought it had weird right-wing messaging. Some people thought it had weird left-wing messaging, but apparently it was just some weird movie that was all the way in the middle. Or maybe, I don't know, I haven't seen it. I'll probably watch it this weekend if when I finish Hunters on Amazon, because it's amazing. And then, what else was going on here? Oh, not only did Sonic the Hedgehog announce that they're going to be releasing early, but Birds of Prey has also announced that they will be potentially releasing early for video on demand. They say the film will be available on March the 24th, and once again, just like Sonic, it came out on February. It came out in early February. So, like I said, movie companies are starting to realize, people need something to do. They need things to do. They need entertainment to kind of help with all this quarantine business. And I mean, hey, say what you will about the movie, but I mean, hey, what are you gonna do? Meanwhile, other movies have just pushed their release dates back. Mulan was pushed back. A Quiet Place Part 2 was pushed back. Black Widow pushed back. But now in regards to Black Widow, who knows? Maybe Disney is testing out how people respond to Onward being on video on demand to test whether or not they want to. Or no, it's not even video on demand. Onward is free, I think, if you have Disney Plus. I think. Maybe. Can't remember. But I'll have to look. That part I'll actually have to look into. But, more importantly, have Disney Plus on my phone. I could literally just do that. Because, we live in a space age society. Oh, look at that. I love watching the Disney Plus logo boot up. Makes me smile. Okay, so yeah, it is video on demand on Amazon and various other and sundry websites and whatnot that do like video on demand services. So yeah, you totally have that as an option, and I think that would be not a bad thing to do. Wonder Woman even. The Wonder Woman movie, Wonder Woman 1984, they just recently said that they are considering the option that yeah, they were considering the option of releasing on video on demand. Now, this story has been updated since I originally picked it up, that they are still going to release in theaters theatrically as expected, but it's something they are actually at least talking about. Like, that's the thing. Like, right now, this whole thing has kind of made people reconsider how we consume media, how we release media. And I think that's a very important thing. It just, it is what it is. But we never know. We never know. Speaking of things that kind of came out as a result of, actually, this is like a non-thing, so I don't think this is actually even in any danger of actually happening. But, I mean, yeah, let's talk about my boy. We got to talk about my boy Daredevils. So Showmark said, meanwhile, the grocery industry not offering any discounts. Exactly. Point. Let's see here. Yeah, I say, yeah, oh wait. yeah, they did say, yeah, Mandalorian did wrap up production before the quarantine. Yeah, they did. Actually, Frozen 2 is already on Disney Plus. It's actually already on there. Actually, matter of fact, when I announced it last week they were going to do it, apparently they said fuck it and just went ahead and put it out, because I literally got on Disney Plus immediately after, and it was there, just sitting there to be watched. So yeah, there you go. Hey, what's going on, Losersaurus? What's going on? Let's see here. Okay. Let's talk about one of probably my favorite superhero. The superhero where I get my namesake. And by namesake, I mean my channel name, not my government name. Let's see here. So, Kevin Smith, not too terribly long ago, he made he kind of threw out something on his podcast, Fat Man Beyond, and was basically talking about how there was a rumor that Daredevil was going to appear in Spider-Man, the Spider-Man sequel to Far From Home. And this kind of was like playing off a rumor that had, God, it was a rumor that had started literally hours after Spider-Man Far From Home came out in theaters. Now he has walked that back. He has given some clarification as to what he meant by that. We didn't talk about the original story, but this is we're here for this one. But basically, he has come out to say that he says because MCU Direct had basically used his quote saying that, oh, Kevin Smith has confirmed it. No, he says perspective. He says, while I too hope this rumor is true, please remember that I only talked about it with Mark Bernardin on Fat Man Beyond after I read about it on the internet, just like everyone else. This means I have no inside info, much like everybody else. I'm just a hopeful fan. And that is how you dashed the dreams of Daredevil fans everywhere. Like me personally, I'm a huge fan of Charlie Cox's Daredevil, and I took all this with a grain of salt. This was a grain of salt for me. I didn't just straight up believe this the second I saw it. So yeah, I knew this was not going to be a thing, or at least if it was, they would not have announced it out this early, or it would have come from a more reputable source. But that said, yeah, it sucks. So if you heard this rumor, if you think that if you take Kevin Smith's word as the gospel, don't. Or you could take this as the gospel, but what he was saying on the Fat Man Beyond podcast, no. But that said, Hosuma Shinobu. Okay, yeah, I got you now. I got you. Okay, so that's my guy Hikaru Kira from Twitch. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, look, we're out here, man. We're out here. Let's see here. Oh, by the way, for those of you, because I don't know if this has been a thing yet. Maybe it has. I haven't checked. I don't think we have any. We don't have any questions in the Discord. But if you want your questions answered, I guarantee, because you put them in the chat right now. There's a lot of chatting going on. I will probably lose them. Make sure to drop them in the questions section in the Discord. And I'll be answering questions here very shortly. Let's see here. Yeah, that was really all there was. That was really all there was to that one. Another one, and I don't really know whether or not this is even going to actually be a thing. But we know that Sony has a bunch of random and sundry Spider-Man spin-off movies going on. We know that they've got, in production, in varying degrees of production, Morbius, Venom 2, those are things. Others that have been on the chopping block or brought up or spoken of in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I know Silver and Black was a thing, but then there was also rumor it was canceled or it was going to be retrofitted into like a TV show or whatever. Who knows at this point? Silk was a thing. Kraven and Spider-Woman, Mysterio, Nightwatch. God, why would you do that? Sinister Six and Madam Web, all characters who have been rumored in some way, shape, form, or fashion, or even outwardly announced by Sony themselves as projects they're working on. Illuminati just recently revealed that they have sources. And whenever someone says sources, who knows? But Illuminati is usually fairly reputable. But now Illuminati is saying that not only are those characters slated for getting a what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, hey, look, Weeby and Geeky, thank you for that. We got a super chat, $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Super chat's also a way to get your questions answered immediately. Thank you for that $5 super chat, Weeby and Geeky. They asked, can legacy characters surpass original characters? Like, they say, I think Calderum, for example, which, by the way, for those who know who Calderum is, that is the Aqualad character from Young Justice, who also is now actually in the DC Comics universe proper now on the Teen Titans. Or maybe has moved over to Young Justice in the DC Comics universe now. I can't remember exactly. But they said that I think Calderum, for example, is way cooler than Aquaman until Jason Momoa made him fun. I agree with that. I actually think that Calderum was... when Young Justice first came out, I actually did not really like his character at first. In the first season, like the early parts of the first season, I was like, oh man, this dude's stuffy as hell. And like the more they developed his character, like, oh wow, I actually get this guy. I understand why he is the way he is. And like season 2, just amazing. Just the character just keeps on getting better and better and better and better and better. But I think Calderum is a better. I think Calderum, to me, Calderum is my Aqualad, and not just because he's black, but because I just think he's a more interesting character, even more so than the previous Aqualad, who, if I'm not mistaken, now goes by the name Tempest. But I think Aqualad is definitely more interesting than Aqua. I think Calderum, I think, is more interesting than Aquaman proper. Now, I do agree that Jason Momoa did actually change how I feel about Aquaman in a lot of different ways. Like, especially now that they are kind of doubling down on Jason Momoa's look for Aquaman in future Aquaman comics. They've actually, there were some solicits that came out that basically showed a more Jason Momoa-esque looking Aquaman for future DC comics, where he's got the scale tattoos and kind of not the exact same tattoos as what Aquaman has in the movies, but they're very similar. And I thought that was really cool. He's got more of the beard, the more disheveled look. I think his hair, for the most part, is still blonde, or maybe it's more of a dirty, like kind of dishwater blonde, dirty blonde look. But I thought that was really cool. So, but yeah, case in point, Wally West. I think Wally West is a better Flash than Barry Allen, hands down. Hands fucking down. He is a better Flash than Barry Allen. I will take the Pepsi challenge between Barry Allen and Wally West any day of the week, and I will always pick Wally West. I think he's just a more interesting character. Another one I'll throw out there, and this will probably piss some people off. I know there's some Iron Man stands out there, but I like Ironheart better than Iron Man. And I will say that with 100% certainty. And the reason, I can give you receipts as to why. One, Iron Man has no personality prior to 2008. I dare you to tell me he had some kind of personality before 2008. Because people were like, I remember talking to people when I went to go see Iron Man in 2008, and people were like, oh, dude, Robert Downey Jr., he was so accurate as Iron Man. This guy, oh my God, he gets Iron Man. He acted him out perfectly. That's exactly how Iron Man is in the comics. You lying motherfuckers. Stop. That is not how Iron Man was in the comics. That is something that happened as a result of the movie. Iron Man was literally the most milquetoast, white bread, plain ass character. He was so vanilla. Oh my God, he was so fucking vanilla. Honestly, Iron Man's books were always on the verge of cancellation because he was not an interesting character. He was a C-tier character at best. Moon Knight had more cachet than Iron Man, and he wasn't even officially an Avenger for a while. But when the 2008 movie came out, that's when people fell in love with Iron Man because he's an asshole. And they started taking those properties and porting them over to the comics. Now, I will say this. Iron Man in the Ultimate Marvel Comics universe was like that. But Earth 616 Iron Man? No. If anything, Robert Downey Jr. did a very accurate portrayal of the Ultimate Marvel Comics Iron Man, but not the Earth 616 proper Iron Man. No. God, no. But that said, I will definitely say I like Ironheart better than Iron Man. I think her comics were better than his. I will say that. I'll say that any day of the week. I also like who else? Who else is there? Oh God, I'm blanking on some other ones. I think Donna Troy is an interesting character, but I feel like she hasn't been given enough to do to prove that she is a more interesting character than Diana. But I think if someone actually gave her an opportunity, I think she would be more interesting. I actually like Tim Drake and Dick Grayson better than Bruce Wayne. Like, I would rather Batman pass the torch to those characters and lift them up. I like the Jaime Reyes version of Blue Beetle better than Ted Kord. Mostly because Jaime Reyes is DC Comics' version of the Guyver, and I love the Guyver. Oh my God. And it's very tokusatsu, so that's right up my alley. Very Kamen Rider-esque. I can't think of any others, but off the top of my head. But But yeah, no, but no, that's how I feel about that. Let's move along here. Says Staff Sergeant also came in with $5 super chat. Thank you, by the way. It says, hey, bro, what do you think about Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka in The Mandalorian? I'm here for it. I believe someone did like a mock-up of someone, I think was it Boss Logic? Maybe it was Boss Logic. They did a mock-up of what she would look like as Ahsoka. And I think I got it here. Yeah, here we go. I'm here for it. Looks good to me. I mean, this is clearly someone doing Photoshop, but I could see it. I could actually see it even before seeing this picture, and now that I've seen this picture, I can really see it. Rosario Dawson, I think, is a great actress. She's solid. She's just a all around decent human being, and yeah, that's just how I feel about it. That's basically how I feel about that. So yeah, there's that. Here, let's see here. Well, and we got another super chat too here. This one's from Reggie Simmons. $5 super chat, just coming in and say, stay safe, fam. Hey, you know what? YouTube, matter of fact, everybody, please make sure you are doing the right thing. Don't go out if you don't have to. I know some of y'all still have jobs that are still functioning. Just be safe at them. Don't take any unnecessary risks. Please make sure you're washing your hands regularly, and please do not touch your face if you have unclean hands. It is not a good look. Cough into your elbow the way Batman would. Like that. Or Devilman. Devilman does that too. So just be safe, please. Everyone, be safe. Let's see here. Okay, Dark Age. So yeah, Boss Logic did do that one. Okay, just making sure. By the way, man, we can get everybody that's in here right now. If y'all can drop, if you haven't done so already, man, hit that like button here so we can boost this up. Because the more likes we get, the more YouTube will push this stream out to other people. So, oh, dude, Dekuven, I didn't even realize you were in here. Damn it, man, what's going on, fam? I see you in here, man. All my peoples are in here. That's what I'm talking about. We got Quiet Council in here on deck. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so what basically go back to what we're talking about. Basically, what we were talking about was Sony is reportedly going to be developing some new stuff, and one of them is going to be a movie based on the property Solo, and the other one being Man-Wolf. Now, okay, so here's the funny thing about this. So these are all characters. Who are Spider-Man adjacent. Solo, you may remember, he was kind of like he was a very mercenary type character. He could like teleport in and out of places. He carried a lot of guns. He was kind of like Punisher if he had superpowers. He was always really brash and just always took things too far. Had a real bad attitude, real negative attitude. But this is Solo right here for those who don't know who I'm talking about. Exactly. And the other character being Man-Wolf. Man-Wolf is the other character. Now, those who don't know, this is J. Jonah Jameson's son, the Man-Wolf, who, might I remind you, is an agent of Wakanda right now. But he was a guy, I forget exactly how it works, but I think there was like some kind of like curse or talisman or something that basically bestowed the lycanthropy on James Jameson. Or is it John Jameson? I always get them mixed up. But yeah, I think it's James. Maybe. Let's see. Oh, hey, dude, Decuvenom. Happy birthday to the little one. For the little mini Vino. Go tell like, hey, let her know we are plussing those ultras for her on this, her name day, the day of her birth, a very special day. And man, y'all stay safe. Let's see. Hey, Taishima, I appreciate it. Thank you for that. Blerd of Fear is better. Will always be the best. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Says what was she's turning 5. Woo! Man, dude. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so she's about a few months older than my daughter. 'Cause my daughter, my youngest, she will be turning 5 this September. So looking forward to it. But let's keep on scrolling down here. Basically, Illuminati is now reporting that the studio is in early development on films focusing on the characters Solo and Man-Wolf. They report that these projects are in early stages of development at the studio. As far as we know, there isn't talent attached at this time, but they are on the conveyor belt of production that brought the equally improbable Morbius spin-off film to an unlikely reality. There you go. It says, but yeah, it was, but yeah, basically, there you have it. But yeah, down here, actually, here it is. They actually have a little bit of dialogue here on Man-Wolf. Basically, yeah, okay. So yeah, it was a lunar rock that he discovered that turned him into Man-Wolf. So yeah, I wasn't that far off. Hey, Rochi Geese, thank you for that. This is, I've been dropping that $3 super chat. Said, keep it dope, Blerd Koa, and wash yo damn hands. God damn it. Here's the thing. I washed my hands compulsively all the time before coronavirus was even a thing. I probably washed my hands too much. Wash your hands. Oh, we got her. Oh, see now, dude, right here in the heart, man. But yeah, dude, yeah, this it's a special day. It is a special day, man. Y'all take care of that girl today. Y'all take care of her. But yeah, that's really all there is to say about that one. There's nothing. There's nothing else really to say there. This next one. Okay, so this next one is a little bit more precarious. This one is a little bit, this one's a little bit more precarious because this is a rumor that's been around for a good while. And that is, the rumors surrounding the Marvel Comics character of MODOK. MODOK has probably been one of the most requested characters, as far as villains go, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Outside of maybe Doctor Doom, Galactus, Kang the Conqueror, probably maybe tied with MODOK. But MODOK is one I always hear people talking about. And apparently it is rumored he may be popping up sooner rather than later. Oh, wait a minute. What we got? The COBY, the Kobe, says, it's funny. Everything is sold out. But soap. Soap is everywhere. We got soap for days. Man, thank you for that $2 super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Once again, like I said, super chats, lifeblood of the channel. You get your questions, statements, whatever, read immediately by me as soon as I see it. But yeah, I'm going to tell you right now. Actually, no. You know, I probably shouldn't be telling y'all this. I shouldn't be telling y'all this, but you know what? Don't say the Blerd without fear is not a man of the people. He is not a people's champion. He is not a person who is unwilling to give up the goods. I'm going to tell you something that I noticed, and actually, one of my friends, Jose, who works with us at Nerd 901, he pointed this out to me. That he said when he was at the store, he noticed that the one thing people weren't buying tortillas. Like, if you went to the bread section of any grocery store, bread just gone. Bread missing for days. No bread anywhere. No white, no wheat, no cinnamon, no nothing. Now, let's also switch over to the whole idea of the tortillas. Go to the bread section, you will see a shit ton of tortillas. So we have been taking advantage of it. We have been buying tortillas because you know what? The motherfuckers are delicious. Fucking delicious. Y'all, they are. Heck, we've been using them for sandwiches. We've been making wraps. Oh, Dark Age said wheat bread was still available at our store. That's because in Texas, they don't eat wheat bread. They eat white bread. Oh, well, actually, I take that back. In Texas, the tortillas probably are run out. The tortillas. See, I'm in Tennessee, and Deku's in Alabama. So yeah, people aren't buying up the tortillas. People are not buying up. Now in Texas, that's probably a whole other story. That is probably a whole other story. I would say probably Texas and Arizona. That is probably not the case. The people probably are buying up the tortillas. Like New Mexico area, Texas area, so on and so forth. I would say that probably is not the case. So yeah, but the tortillas, dude, them motherfuckers are in full stock. And I've been taking full of, dude, we're taking advantage. I'm like, dude, get all the soft shell tortillas. Because those motherfuckers keep so well. But yeah, anyway, neither here nor there. Let's see. Oh, dude. Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, and no, Cricket, I want to point out, what Cricket is saying, is y'all may want to pay attention to that. That shit does not go bad at all. Went ham by myself. Yes. I'm weak. Dude, chicken wraps every day. Look, I ain't mad at, look. Come holla at your boy, that's all I'm saying. But no, to keep on to keep it moving along. But yeah, no, MODOK, MCU Cosmic has announced that there's a very strong possibility of MODOK appearing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe during the Phase 4. And basically what they're saying is it wouldn't be connected to the upcoming Hulu series because we do have that. That's actually one thing Hulu that has not been canceled on Hulu regarding Marvel characters. I know Hellstrom is also still a thing. Damon Hellstrom still has his show coming out. And then MODOK also has one. But they say basically they don't know what film it'll be. It could also be in one of the MCU shows on Disney+. It could either be WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, whatever. He could wind up in any of those. But that is the thing. So I feel like the MODOK rumor, this is like MODOK rumor number 895 or whatever, or maybe 6,400. I mean, MODOK is always in the rumor mill. So I mean, MCU Cosmic is saying it, and they are a very reputable source, even more reputable than Illuminati. So I'm more likely to believe them. But yeah. This is more of a public service announcement than anything else. This isn't really anything I'm going to spend a whole lot of time on, but Scott Snyder did recently confirm on his Twitter that he says, I know some folks were asking whether recent changes at DC affected DC death metal at all. And he says the answer is yes. It became bigger in all ways. So take that how you want to. We don't have any details beyond that, but we do know that Dark Knight's Death Metal will start on May 13th of this year, and it is going to be a sequel to Dark Knight's Metal, and this one is going to be a story that is more focused on Wonder Woman, which I actually find interesting considering the fact that Dark Knight's Metal, about halfway into it, became a very Wonder Woman-centric story as opposed to a Batman-centric story. Like, Wonder Woman became a very big focal point in it towards the end, so I thought that was really cool. So that said, I'm really interested to see how all that ties together. I still actually got to catch up on a lot of my Justice League stuff. I've been way behind. I fell off on Justice League kind of towards the end of Scott Snyder's run just because I don't know, for whatever reason, I just stopped feeling it. I'm not really reading anything DC right now, if I'm being brutally honest. I'm only really right now, I'm reading Marvel and Image Comics. The books I'm reading regularly, Black Panther, at least until it ends with issue number 25, Immortal Hulk. I'm catching up on Daredevil, Chip Zdarsky's run. Obviously, I'm reading all the X-Men books, for the most part. Even the ones I'm not covering. Like, I'm still reading New Mutants and Excalibur. I'm just not doing videos on them. Some of you will notice the video I did for the last X-Men issue. I actually tied in some stuff from New Mutants that I didn't cover because I didn't do a video on it. So that's kind of how I'll be doing it going forward. Like, if something relevant pops up, in one of the other comics that has to do with something that happens in New Mutants or Excalibur, that's probably how you'll see it covered. Or if something major happens in either book, I'll cover it. But for the most part, yeah, no. Because I think Hellions comes out this month, and I got to deal with that. We'll see. Just basically, if I read an issue and there's nothing interesting going on in it, I'm probably not going to do a video on it, just because why? Why bother? I'm also reading Crowded whenever it comes out from Image. I'm also reading, I'm actually catching up on Once and Future. I think Paper Girls ended, so I'm not reading that anymore. I got to catch up on Gideon Falls, because I got way behind on that. A few other things, but yeah. So that'll be a thing, but I will probably cover Dark Knight's Metal, or Dark Knight's Death Metal, if for no other reason than I covered Dark Knight's Metal when it came out, and that was kind of what my channel was founded on, as far as popularity goes, and I will likely do Death Metal. And also helps that I'm a big fan of metal. I guess I would have to be. I used to make metal music, so that is a thing. Let's keep on pushing. We do got some news about Harley Quinn. Harleen Quinzel and her new arch nemesis. Apparently, we got an early look at Batman number 93. Batman number 93 we got a little early sneak peek at it, and basically we've now learned that Punchline, Joker's new main squeeze, is going after Harley Quinn hard body style. Apparently in this issue, which here we're gonna that's actually, I think this is gonna wind up being I think this is the cover that we're looking at here, the potential cover for it. Got Joker wearing half of the Batman cowl. And then we got another alternate one. This is kind of more of like a deceased cover. And here's another off. I think this is the designer. Well, a new Batman villain that just kind of popped up recently, who nobody knows who the fuck he is. Some people rumor that he's going to wind up being a character we've already seen, but I think that would just be weird and dumb. But we also get to see some pages. We also get to see some pages of Harley Quinn and Punchline going at each other's throats. So that's pretty cool. These heifers have literally just met and they're already fighting. Fight. Look, let me be clear here, man. I'm here for it. I am here for it. I like what I'm seeing. But yeah, I like how these have, like, I also love the difference in demeanor, because Punchline looks, for a character named Punchline, she looks serious as a heart attack. Like, she looks deadly serious right now. She is not smiling. And you see Harley's got that weird kind of like weird befuddled look that she always has on her face, even though she's probably mad. We don't really know what's being said right here, because these are all sans. These are all without the word bubbles. But apparently something funny was very likely said, and Punchline's not here for it. I also want to point out, I actually like this, and you don't see this very often. I actually really like. Here, let me go back up. Odd thing to point at here, but I really like her gauges right here. I've always liked those types of gauges, so I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And like, honestly, Punchline looks like a woman I have dated before. Multiple different women I've probably dated. And I love the fact that Harley has pulled the strap. Harley has pulled the strap out. It's like, no. I got to put you down. But I love it. I love what I'm seeing here. Comic looks great. I'll probably check it out. I need to actually get caught back up with Batman. I haven't been reading it since Tom King's run came to an end. Since James Tynion the Fourth has jumped on, I haven't been reading it yet, so that'll be a thing I'll be catching up on as well. So yeah, that's something that is yet another thing to be looking forward to. Now, another thing that we could talk about here. This is more of a public service announcement than anything else. Yeah, I know it's awkward, IGN. I know it's awkward. But I didn't know this. I don't know how I didn't know this. But Makad Brooks recently came out with something that a little interesting tidbit about the new Mortal Kombat movie that's coming up. And I actually did not know that he was playing Jax. For those who don't know who Makad Brooks is, for those of you who are fans of Double Toasted, Billy Brooks on Double Toasted, that is his brother. And but beyond that, he is also an actor. He's been on shows like True Blood. He was the guy who played Jimmy Olsen on CW's Supergirl. This is actually Makad Brooks right here. He's going to be playing Jax, apparently, in the Mortal Kombat movie, which, that's fine. He's a fairly built guy, so yeah, I could see it. But he said in a recent interview, he said that the upcoming Mortal Kombat movie will be grounded in realism. He said it'll feature grounded realism, which basically means that outside of the typical violence that you normally see in Mortal Kombat, like fatalities, super moves, and stuff like that, everything else in the movie is going to be grounded. So there you go. There's that. Basically, he says, he basically goes on to say that when I approached, he says, when I approached Jax, I was like, okay, well, he's an assassin, he's a killer, and he kills monsters. So he has to be a monster. And I was stuck on this Ernest Hemingway quote, and I'm sure I'm going to fuck it up, but it goes along the lines of, once you've hunted and killed trained men long enough, you have very little taste for anything else in the world, and that's who Jax is. That's how I found this grounded realism in him. Who was he before he was hunting monsters? And he even goes on to say that he kind of likens it to how Tim Burton's Batman turned the comic book genre into something dark and grounded and real and based in physics and things of that nature. So, what that will ultimately mean, honestly, you'll probably just see I guess if you had to compare to anything, I would probably compare to as the type of realism you would see in a movie like The Dark Knight, which was one of those movies where Christopher Nolan kind of said something similar. He was like, yeah, hey, this is a Batman that's grounded in realism. There aren't any supermen or villains with crazy superpowers. Everybody's it's just real people. It's kind of like how Bane became a guy who was just a big, strong guy, not a guy who pumps up on venom and becomes like this monstrously large person. That's kind of what they're talking about there. Now, considering the fact they're talking about monsters and demons and hunting monsters and shit like that, I think the realism is going to kind of stop at that point. And then, yeah, because, I mean, it's Mortal Kombat, for Christ's sakes. But I'm curious. I'm always curious. I mean, they say there'll be the fatalities and things like that will be there. The special moves will be there. The fighting will be there. That's all I really care about. Mortal Kombat, I'm not expecting Citizen Kane or anything like that. So those are all things to look forward to there. But yeah, he did go on to say, yes, you're going to get all the fatalities that you're used to. Yeah, all the fight moves and things like that you want to see. Of course, we had to put all that stuff in there, but you're also getting a real story about real people that you can connect with and identify with their struggles, and that's the part that's going to be really unexpected. So, apparently, because that is one thing I kind of feel like that is one of the failings of the original Mortal Kombat movie. It was a fun movie, but I didn't really care about anybody. Like, I mean, I cared about them because I played the video games and I connected with the characters of the video games. I didn't necessarily connect with any of the actors playing the characters, with the exception of maybe one. And that was Kano. Trevor Goddard, God rest his soul. I thought his Kano was amazing. Actually, I thought Shang Tsung's character was amazing too. But that's just because they were well acted. It wasn't because I learned anything about them that I didn't know before. But, I mean, it says something that Trevor Goddard's portrayal of Kano is so iconic that it changed Kano forever. Like, Kano went from being a half Asian, half American assassin to becoming an Australian. You can't make this shit up. Matter of fact, they even go out of their way to make him look like Trevor Goddard. Even recently in Mortal Kombat 11, they went back and got Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa to come back and be the face of Shang Tsung, and that was a thing. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see here. This dude, we're talking about Mortal Kombat Legacy. Mortal Kombat Legacy. Yeah, I kind of do too. Wait, somebody said. Let's see. Yeah, you said they got. You said they got them on Steam. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, Rosebud, me old son. Yeah, I kind of wish they would have too. I actually really liked Mortal Kombat Legacy, and you know what? Honestly, we're talking about grounded in realism. I wouldn't be surprised if this new Mortal Kombat movie takes a lot of nods from Mortal Kombat Legacy, because Mortal Kombat Legacy, for what it was grounded in realism. So there's that. Okay, let's see what we got here. Now, for those of you, I talked about this earlier. You said they got the King of Fighters anime on there too? Oh, well then shit, that's all you had to say. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's go ahead real quick. I'm going to give a statement. I'm going to give a quick statement about, it may not be quick. I always say things will be quick and they never are. I'm going to give a statement here on GameStop. Now, those of you who know me and those I've talked to personally, y'all know I used to work for GameStop. I was never a store manager in the strictest sense. Not like by an official title. I was an assistant manager, and then for like about a month or two, I managed a GameStop because my store manager was fired for theft. Or not theft. I can't say theft. That actually would be wrong. He was fired for, or no, he wasn't even fired. I think he left. He actually quit before he was going to be fired for gross negligence. That was what it was. In regards to a theft. But GameStop is a shitty company. I'm not even gonna, there's no alleged to that. Everyone was talking about, GameStop, they refused to shut down during this COVID-19 crisis, this pandemic. They're refusing to act on it or do anything or shut down their stores. And there was a word going around that they had talked about if any authorities came to their stores to tell them that they are essential retail and that's why they're opening or why they are open. And yesterday, they actually had to walk that back because in California, we know that they are doing full lockdown. And it was awful. It's awful. It's awful that they were doing that. And before I even go any further than that, I do want to say that I don't hate the employees of GameStop. I've never hated the employees. Now, I will say there are some employees at GameStop who are drinking the Kool-Aid a little too hard. But when I worked there, I was one of those people that I didn't like asking people to reserve games. I didn't like asking people to get power-up rewards cards. I didn't like hassling people to pre-order games and trade in stuff and buy prepaid phones and bullshit like that. I wasn't about that life. And that's actually why my district manager thought I was such a shitty GameStop employee, because she always said that, you feel like you're burdening the customer. You're burdening the customer. And she's always talking about, it takes 6 no's to get a yes. And I was like, that sounds awful. That sounds like something a rapist would say, is what I would always tell her, which is why she didn't like me very much. And Deku Venom knows exactly who I'm talking about because she was also his district manager. Deku Venom used to work for GameStop as well, so he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I hated working there. It was the most grimy. It was the most horrible, okay. You know how people, the classic trope of the used car salesman? Where, the used car salesman, he's so slimy, so grimy. So that's how I felt working in GameStop. I hated myself. I was depressed. I used to sit in my car for 30 to 40 minutes every day before I went into work, trying to convince myself why I couldn't quit my job. There were some days I sat in the bathroom crying because I didn't want to open the damn gate. And, I mean, and the thing is, it sucks. It sucked. It was a terrible job. It is what it is. I know, I feel like GameStop is such a failing company that, I feel like this was the worst possible look they could have gotten out of anything that they've done. And I want to go even further. And say that they finally broke down and said, yes, we are going to shut down all stores in California. But there's a caveat. They released a statement. And here, I'm going to show this statement. They said, we are closing our stores in California. The closure will remain in effect until further notice as we obtain more information from the California governor's office. Now, for those who don't know, and as this article states, California is one of a few states in the country to have enacted a full lockdown policy and told non-essential businesses to close. Now, we did get word. Now, this is an article that's written by Jason Schreier on Kotaku, and I know people have mixed feelings about Kotaku, but Jason Schreier is very good at his job. And he says that 2 California GameStop employees told Kotaku that they've been told to use personal time or file for unemployment, as they will not be paid while stores are shut down. Now, here's my beef. You were keeping these employees in the store, telling them that they had to be there because they are considered an essential business, which is the biggest piece of bullshit I have ever heard in my life. It is the biggest piece of bullshit I have ever heard in my life. That is garbage. It is not true. That is terrible. And you are basically exposing these people to potential infection with COVID-19. And I'm sorry, there's no other way to spin it. There's no other way to spin that. There's nothing you can tell me that's going to make me go, well, yeah, they should stay open. No, they should not stay open. These people are interacting with the public. People who could be potential vectors for COVID-19. And if they come into contact with them, they are going to spread it. And it's just going to keep spreading. Honestly, most retail stores, and once again, I spoke earlier about businesses shutting down because of the nature of this pandemic. Now, while I don't agree with people not being able to make money, people not being able to support their families, I don't agree with being put in harm's way. Now, on the flip side of that, it upsets me that a lot of businesses are not paying their employees, because I do know there are some businesses that are paying their employees to stay home, even if they do work in a retail environment. My wife, she works for a retail company, and they are going to be doing that, though they are holding off, and she's in a similar situation. But my thing is, it's like, you are not essential. You're not essential. You do not need to be in there. And the reason why none of this surprised me at all is because when I worked for GameStop, I remember we had a snowstorm. And now it's Memphis. A Memphis snowstorm is nothing compared to a snowstorm in Denver or Chicago or New York or anywhere in the Midwest or North or northern states. But we were shut down. It was dangerous to be out driving. There was black ice all over the roads, and all businesses, for the most part, were closed. The mall that this GameStop was in, that I worked at, was closed. The mall shut down. I repeat, the mall was shut down. They were closed. That means the doors were locked. That means if you were in the mall and you left, if you walked out that door, you were not getting back in because the doors would be locked. So only people who were in that mall were security and cleaning crew. And my district manager, instead of letting me go home, letting me drive home when the streets were still at least moderately safe to drive on, she made me stay. She told me that if I left, I would be fired. So basically what I did is I had to make a judgment call. I had to decide whether or not I needed that job. And at the time, I needed that job. I needed to support my family. I needed to support, at the time, it was just, my daughter was not even born yet, but it was just me, my wife, and my stepchild. And at the time, I was actually making more money than my wife. And it was one of those situations where we couldn't afford it. We could not afford for one of us to lose our job. And I stayed. But I remember she told me, she was like, and yeah, you can't lock the door. You can't pull the gate down. You have to keep the doors open and service anyone who comes in. And I was like, no. There's no way. And she was like, well, I'm just telling you that's what's going to happen. And if you close the doors, you'll be fired. And I was like, okay, fine. And I knew for a fact she was not going to drive out there in the black ice because she was not going to do what she was going to do. She wouldn't do it. She knew good and hell well the streets were dangerous. She wasn't going to waste her time to see and make sure I wasn't out here fucking up. So what I did is I closed the fucking doors, pulled the gate down, locked everything up, turned on some goddamn anime, and just sat in the middle of the store playing Pokemon on my 3DS. That's what I did. GameStop is on some fuck shit 24/7. This isn't new. This isn't surprising, but the thing is, I wish the GameStop would be better because they are a company that literally is that close to being shut down permanently. And when it is, honestly, I won't miss them. I haven't shopped in a GameStop since I quit. Like, case in point, you know the last, actually I take that back, that's a lie. The last two times I have walked into a GameStop and made a purchase, last two times was when the PlayStation 4 came out, and that was only because my PlayStation 4 was pre-ordered at a GameStop, and it was already paid off. I didn't have to buy a goddamn thing. I literally walked in, took my shit, and walked right out the fucking door. And when Batman Arkham Knight came out, and that was only because I had it pre-ordered already, and it was already at a GameStop, and I was like, well, I'm just going to go here and buy it and going about my merry little way. Because I don't like canceling reservations on people, because a lot of people don't know this, but canceling reservations on GameStop employees, it actually affects their hours. And basically, if they get too many cancellations, it can affect their numbers, and if their numbers are affected, they lose hours. It's this weird level up system that they have at GameStop. If I remember correctly, I think they still have it, but if they don't get enough Power-Up Rewards cards, if they don't get enough, and I mean this is the Pro card, not the free one. If they don't get enough Game Informer subscriptions, if they don't get enough of the reserves, their numbers take a hit, and basically they schedule people based on those numbers. That's another reason why I hated GameStop. And they still do that shit to this day. It was unofficial before, but then they made it official. They made it an official practice. But yeah, no, the COBY, exactly. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Blockbuster is basically GameStop is going to go the way of Blockbuster. So there you go. Dark Angel said Paige just went live on Twitch. Oh, well, when we shut this down, I'll be heading over that way. Dark Angel, if you don't mind, if you drop me that link. Oh, yeah, no. Deku Venom. I can corroborate this. Deku Venom said if they get more than 20 cancels in a month, it's a write-up. Yep. He is correct. Matter of fact, because basically the way they see it is they want you to stop the customer from canceling the pre-order because you have that kind of power. You have to be the one saying, well, no, if you cancel it, why don't you go put it on another game? But then there are situations where people are like, hey, I pre-ordered this game and I don't have the money for it, or I don't want it anymore. I need to cancel it and I need the money. I'm not going to stop that person from canceling it. What do you want me to do? But anyways, that is all I have to say about that. Fuck GameStop. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all. Okay. Let's. We only got one question in the Discord, so I'm gonna answer it right now. This one is actually coming from my guy Deku Venom. He says, "We always say who do we want in the MCU, but who do you not want in the MCU?" That's a very good question. I will go ahead and say it right now. Character I do not want in the MCU. If I had to just outright throw somebody under the bus, honestly, a character that I would just not be like interested in seeing in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Whoo, man. You know what? Let's go ahead and just go for the gusto. Let's go for the gusto. I'm gonna say it would have to be the fucked up ass storyline that they did with Carol Danvers. I believe it was Avengers 200, I believe. I want to say that is correct. But there was a character there was a character in Marvel Comics, and basically he raped Carol Danvers. And, brainwashed her and impregnated her. And it just so happened that this character, also, if I'm not mistaken, was also her son from the future. And his name was, oh, wait a minute. Get that out of my face. But his name was, I think this was like Immortus, if I'm not mistaken. I always blank on his name. But, yeah, I don't want that character in the MCU. I don't want that character anywhere near the MCU, and I'm just going to be real about it. That character is awful. He's wild trash. I don't want to see that, because if he's there, then that just lets me know exactly what they're going to do. Yeah, Marcus, yep. That's the one. Yep. I don't want to see him. That is a character that is too problematic for the MCU in my eyes. And yeah, I'm a little too close to it because yes, is he a character who he's connected to a character who I love? Yes. So I'm a little too close to it. But I also think that is problematic. Okay, there's a reason why no one wants to take credit for writing that story. I believe there were 5 writers on that story, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to see that. Okay, I think I am being incredibly fair when I say I don't want to see that. Now, at the same time, that does bring up a very interesting thing because, I think last week or the week before we talked about Kang the Conqueror because that would actually, that would in some ways affect that. That said, I just don't want that particular version of the character anywhere near it. That's all I'm saying. I think you should keep that aspect of it way far and the fuck away from that. Does that whole Avengers 200 story arc is just bad. It's badly written. It's just not good. I don't, and I actually, if not for him though, I would actually say, yes, I agree. Sentry. I don't want Sentry in the MCU. I don't want it. Yeah, no, Tubes, no, you're 100% correct. It says, yeah. So it doesn't matter how close you are to this. No one would look at that story and say, yeah, put that in the MCU. Fire would fire them and set them on fire on the spot. No, you are 100% correct. It is what it is. It is what it is, and I'm sorry, but I don't want to see those types of things. Yeah, but no, Sentry is a close second. Maybe as far as like other characters go, I tell you what. Here's another one. I don't want to see Ben Reilly. I don't want to see the Spider clone. I don't want that. Let's see here. Was I think was COBY says Kilgrave, the Purple Man. Darren Bradley says Korvac. I can agree with all those. Let's see. Let's see. The Squadron Supreme. Yeah, I could do without the entire Squadron Supreme. I'm good on all that. I don't need it. Let's see here. Now, what I would like to see, I actually do agree with, Hatsuma Shinobu, that Darkhawk, I would like to see Darkhawk. However, I would not like to see Sleepwalker. Fuck that. Oh, hey! By the way, X-Trib just came through, $15 super chat. Said that, just said, what up, Doe? Thanks for keeping me moving while delivering mail out in these Rona streets. Peace and blessings to everyone, and wash yo damn hands. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yes, wash them motherfucking hands. Like, literally, as soon as I walk out of here, the first thing I'm going to do is wash my hands. Actually, I washed my hands and hand sanitizer before I even came out here. Or came in here to the Blerd Cave. I got Lysol wipes on deck. I got hand sanitizer on deck. Everything is on deck. Don't play with me. Let's see here. Now, I will say this. I wouldn't... Now, I know I see a couple of y'all said that y'all would not want to see Civil War 2. Here's what I will say to that. I wouldn't mind seeing Civil War 2, but under one condition. I would prefer that this is going to be one of the times where I would say take some liberties. Just like they did with Captain America Civil War, it was a loose adaptation of the comic book by any stretch of the imagination. It was the loosest adaptation of Civil War, which I actually think made it a better movie. I would say do the same. If you had to do Civil War 2, do it in the same vein as Captain America Civil War. Whereas, let's say maybe change the stakes. Because I won't lie. One of the things about Civil War 2 that I think gets lost a lot, and I think I was actually talking about this with Professor Bill from a comic book university. And the character of Ulysses Kane, who is an Inhuman, his powers caused a bit of a stir in the Marvel Comics universe, to say the least. The problem was being that, it created this kind of precog, arresting people before they'd done anything wrong type of scenario, because Ulysses Kane, he could see the future. He could forecast, rather, not necessarily could see the future. He could forecast the future, which is actually something very, very different. Now, here's the trick with this. Let's actually address what his actual power is. Okay, so he has diagnostic precognition, which basically means that he has the ability to forecast the future. His brain automatically absorbs data and energies cascading from all over the world, and through a mental algorithm generates the visions of a theoretical future with a probability percentage of 10%. Now, he then vividly envisions these possible upcoming events. However, his powers are mostly triggered randomly, meaning he cannot control which events he sees, and accumulated stress triggers those these seeings. But he did actually kind of learn over time how to control it, but in the sense of pausing when they happen. And he has gotten to a point where he can interact with his visions and he can see multiple things happening at multiple times. But basically, that said, he had a margin for error. Now, that I think is where a lot of the point of contention comes in with Civil War 2, is that up to a point, it seemed like his powers were actual, he saw the actual future. But the trick with that is he did have a chance to be wrong. Now that we point that out, I think there was an instance where, yes, they did discover, I think it was one of the spin-off titles, that when they arrested somebody, Carol and the rest of her team arrested somebody because, Ulysses saw something that would denote that they were going to be doing some crazy shit. And they arrested the person, but they didn't have the thing that they were supposedly smuggling. But then you come to find out later there was some other stuff that was revolving around that, and that they weren't necessarily so much wrong as they were the circumstances were incorrect. And then we have learned that a lot of the things that Ulysses saw actually have come to pass and are happening right now. So I don't really feel so bad about the whole precog thing, but I do think it's wrong to arrest people for doing something they haven't done yet. You could probably just stop them. But that that whole story kind of led to the whole bad booking of Carol Danvers, and is a lot of the reason why I think a lot of people actually hate her character. But I don't care. Still love her. Anyways, got a super chat from Bryant Harris over here, dropping $5. Says, giving you the book, Introduce MCU X-Men. Do you use any of Hickman's material to create your own foundation? Yes. Let's go ahead and answer that. I have been given the book. It's been handed over to me. So, as far as I'm concerned, what I would do is to book the X-Men to the MCU, and I stand firm by this. I've talked about this in some aspects of the past. I would maintain that mutants have always been around and have just not been active or open about who they are. And for the most part, I've been doing a very good job of hiding. But what I would do is how I would introduce them. I would introduce them in the way of Charles Xavier or making the announcement. Only instead of what I would do is we've already seen the classic X-Men lore portrayed on screen, albeit in very awful ways. I would portray it in the Hickman fashion. I would actually take from, I believe it's, Powers of X number 6? The scene where Charles is using Cerebro to deliver a message to the human world saying that, hey, we have founded this island. This is where we're at. We are mutants. We are here. We're doing our thing. And I would go from there. I would actually work off the Hickman model if it was up to me. Because that's something that A, is fresh in everybody's heads, B, has revitalized people talking about the X-Men again, and C, is not something we've already seen. Kind of case in point, a la Spider-Man. How Spider-Man Homecoming does not reuse villains that we've seen in previous movies. I think the X-Men should not reuse all the same shit that we've already seen. We've gotten so many movies of Wolverine and Charles Xavier and Magneto and all this other stuff, shitty Apocalypse and all that other stuff. I want something new. And even if you don't use that entire model, I wouldn't even have it where one of the things I would probably change is I would not have all the villains on Krakoa right off the rip. I would have that be something that happens gradually over the course. I would even have Krakoa be a full-on thing, in the beginning. I would have it in its early stages, not quite the powerhouse that it is now. And then I would build up from there, and then as characters come in, bring them into the fold and, treat them as such. But that's how I would do it. That's just me. Hey, Elevation Outlaw, what's going on? And, Shinobu, yes, Evil Cap, if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember all the details around it, but I do believe you are correct, about Evil Cap. There was a lot going on in there. And, let's see. One says, just realized Civil War II is that noir parody episode of K&D where Kooky takes over as a detective for number 2, and that kid was drawing up pictures in crayon saying they're images of the future. Yeah, kind of is true. That's not that far off. That is actually not that far off. Let's see here. Can I hit that intro? Hey, I hit that bad boy. I hit it. I did it. Yeah, and I agree with Cricket on this one. Cricket says, in my opinion, the only way to make MCU Earth not like mutants in a way that makes sense is one simple question. Earth has been invaded by aliens 3 times. Where were you? That is fair. I would even also say that maybe make people distrustful of mutants because they assume they are aliens. That'd be another way. Hey, I'm just saying, look, hey, look, let me tell y'all something. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about K&D reference in the slightest. So let's just say that, yeah. And for those who don't know what we're talking about Kids Next Door. But no, K&D was my shit back in the day, dude. I actually really liked that show. Actually, I still like that show. I say liked as though I stopped. That is not the case. I still like it. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see... Matter of fact, you know what? I would say... Actually, you know what? Better idea. Let's say that the first interaction people have with mutants are with the bad guys. I would say start introducing some mutant villains before you introduce any mutant heroes, and that's how they get the bad name that they get. Just like let it be, like, you know, yeah, make it be Magneto, let it be Apocalypse, yet let it be, even though Mr. Sinister's theoretically not a mutant, he's a human mutate, but whatever. I would say use characters like that. Mr. Sinister. I think actually Mr. Sinister would be one of the better characters to kick it off with. That he's doing all this crazy testing on humans and mutants and you know, and using mutants to further his own ends. And you know, that is what would make people fearful. Have Magneto coming in talking that wild, spicy mutants are the greatest race and you know, all this other stuff, and have people, because I mean that's what he did back in the day. That's what he was doing in the Fox X-Men movies. Yeah, let that be the case. Let that be a thing. Let people's first interaction with mutants be with bad guys. And then later on, I would actually say have Avengers characters, or even an Avengers movie. Actually, if it was me, I would book an entire Avengers movie on the idea of a mutant villain, maybe on the level of Apocalypse or Magneto, causing something that's causing all these heroes to have to come together. It doesn't even necessarily have to be an Avengers movie, but maybe kind of in the vein of how like Captain America Civil War is like is considered like Avengers 2.5. Maybe have a movie like that where whether it's and honestly I think Captain Marvel might be one of the better movies to do that with, because Carol Danvers has a history with the X-Men in the comics. She used to run with the X-Men back in the day. That's actually where Binary got her first appearance. Carol, when she first became Binary, it was in Uncanny X-Men. So yeah, do that. Have Carol dealing with something that is to do with mutants, and there you go. Just have it go from there. You could even use other characters. Like you could technically use Captain America. You could technically use Iron Man. You could technically use what's another I'm looking at? I wouldn't use Ant-Man, but I mean you could. But yeah, that's how I would do it if it was me. Let's see here. Some have brought up Mora. Yes, I could see that too. You could even use Mora in that same sense. I wouldn't be against it. Chillmonger brought up Namor. I would be for that as well. Actually, you know what? Boom, there you go. That's my pick. Chillmonger called it. Namor. Namor is a mutant. He is the first, he's the first mutant in publication history. Have him drown an entire fucking city, just like he did in the comics. Have that motherfucker come out. I'm not saying I don't want this to actually happen in real life, so I just want to preface that. I don't want this to really happen in real life. This is movies we're talking about. Have Namor come along and drown various cities across the globe. I would even say, you know what, even though I hated it when he did it in the comics, but this would be another way to tie him in. Okay. Fuck it. Okay, here's how you do it. Black Panther 2. Black Panther 2, Namor pulls up, drowns Wakanda. Not only is he drowning Wakanda, he's drowning other, like he goes to Oakland, because we know he set up the Wakandan outreach. He drowns Oakland. He drowns New York. He drowns Britain. He drowns Great Britain. He drowns like all of these other various and sundry cities across, not just Wakanda, so it's not singled out, but he's drowning all these cities across the globe, and he becomes a threat, and Black Panther has to go take this guy down, and maybe have some other Avengers characters show up in the movie. That would not be a bad way to do it either, and that would make people very distrustful of mutants. You could even have Namor going around saying, yeah, dude, I'm a mutant. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to come up here and lay my dick on the table. My mutant dick is on the table right now. Yeah, go hit the danger button right quick. But that is how I would do it. That is precisely how I would run that if I could. Let's see. Elevation Allah dropped a super chat, $10 super chat, says, can we get a Kratos God of War versus Hulk or Kratos versus Thor movie? I mean, I wouldn't hold my breath, but I wouldn't be against either of those things happening. I tell you what, when the next God of War game comes out, you'll have the closest thing to a Kratos versus Thor movie. I don't know why I struggle with that. But I would be totally all in for it. I would love to see some shit like that. Can you imagine the banter between Robert Downey Stark and Miss Senator? Oh, dude, it would be so off the chain. I'm here for it. Yeah, you have the Morlock Massacre. You could have that. So there should be characters. There should be characters who have a beef with mutants. When asked why all mutants have an agenda to rule the planet, that could be a thing too. Yes, 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 yes. I'm going to wash my hands. I will wash my hands. Don't worry. The Avengers face a mutant threat they can't handle. Mutant show. Yeah, I mean that'd be another. Like I said, I think at some point there should be something that happens. Yeah, I think there should be something that happens. With coronavirus going on, Namor would ban all travel to Atlantis. Krakoan flower trade would go up. It probably would. It really would. Yeah, I mean, because at this point, yeah, I mean, at this point, I would love to see. I would love to see that. I think that you could really do some good with the storyline of that magnitude. If we're keeping it 1 million. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? I don't think we have any questions. Oh, wait, we got Tech Spec Studio coming through with $5 super chat. Says, how would you introduce Kang the Conqueror in the MCU? By the way, Tech Spec Studios, thank you for that super chat. Let's see here. Yeah, let's do this. There we go. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. So what I would do is, Kang, honestly, a lot of the talk right now is that Kang is going to be in the Loki Disney Plus series. So that seems like the most likely place for him to show up, or at least references to him. What I would probably do with Kang is, I would say that because of the events of Infinity War, because of the events of Endgame, because of everything going with Thanos, because of what, the snap, both the one that Thanos did and the one that Hulk did, and I would even say the one that, we even taking the point, the one that Iron Man did. I would say that, and then of course, taking things that are connected to time and then having them to the past, having them removed, and then having them replaced, I would say maybe that would gain the attention of the Time Variance Authority, which is probably why Loki is picked up by them in his series. But then going from there, I would say maybe have... I would say, Marvel is always really big on changing their villains' motivation and characters' motivations as a whole to keep them fresh. What I would probably do is maybe make Kang less of a... I would introduce him as someone who is perfectly normal. Perfectly normal, just wants to fix time and keep people from doing fuck shit with the timelines. And then eventually over time, a version of himself from the future who has become drunk on power and has basically lost his shit and is now going backwards through time and fucking with shit and changing things to his advantage. That's how I would book Kang. Now, as far as like introducing him as a villain proper in a movie, honestly, I would, since you're dealing, I know this would be kind of a weird one because, we're talking about Infinity Stones. I actually don't think Infinity Stones should play that big a role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a while, but I would not be against the idea of characters like Iron Man or Doctor Strange or I don't know, various other characters. I feel like, if they had a movie, I feel like they could deal with Kang in such a way. But I think Kang is one of those threats that I feel like you would need everybody all hands on deck to face off with him, is what I think. Real quick though, I do want to remind that here, let's see here, because we have got, hold up, here we go. Real quick before we move on out. Oh, wait, here I see it was in Lawrence Robert Jr. said Jim Lee, Chris Bocciolo, Joe Madureira. These were some of the greats who drew the X-Men titles. I agree 100%. 100%. But we're going to get out of here. Real quick, I do want to give shouts out to Roro Noah, who one of our newest patrons at $25. Also want to give shout out to William 5050, also new patron at $25. I don't know if y'all have gotten to me yet. I know one of you has spoken to me about your request, your Patreon request, because remember, at $25 level, you get to request a comic storyline that I cover on the channel, or a topic that I cover. Now, when it comes to this, it's something that can't be more than like 5 to 7 issues. And basically what I mean by that is Marvel typically does their storylines in 5-issue format, sometimes 6. DC does 6 to 7, sometimes 8. So try and keep it in that range. If you do 50, I will do one that is like a bigger arc, like something closer to like 12 to 15 issues or so. And I don't know if I even still have it on here. I think I took it down because I don't think anyone was actually going to do it. But if you do 75 or more, as much as I will hate myself for it, I will do an entire crossover, like a big crossover event. And by crossover event, I mean something like huge, way more than 15 issues. But I do want to, here, let me, there's another, there's another person I also want to give a shout out to, because they didn't do Patreon, but they actually hit me up on PayPal. They donated to the channel on PayPal, and I'm not gonna not give out your Christian name, but I don't even really know how to say the screen name. I don't know if it's like 12_GTW. I want to thank you for hitting me up and hooking that up for me. It's much appreciated. I meant to actually shout it out on the last stream, but things got crazy and just got carried away. But I do want to say thank you to both new patrons and those who've donated that I know of. And yeah, y'all are awesome. Y'all are, and like I said, y'all are helping me out and just being amazing, being awesome. And I actually meant to have a new video released earlier today. I'm actually going to release it shortly after the stream. I did a video for Evel Ewing and Kim Jacinto's Outlawed #1. Those of you who are members or patrons have probably already seen it, but I will be releasing it live here in a little bit. Actually, Deku, y'all have already done. Jose's already done Jose has already done the legwork on doing that. So I am catching up. So y'all are good. Y'all don't have to do anything else. Y'all have to do anything else. Let's see here. Yes, Mr. Brown, Rama Tut and Kang are one and the same character. And let's see. My guy Michael Raleigh dropping in that $5 super chat says, couldn't think of anything good to ask. Stay healthy, my dude. You do the same. Because I know Michael's out in California, San Francisco to be precise, and I know he's in that area where they're in full lockdown. So you make sure you stay safe. Man, just don't go out if you don't have to, and man, just stay happy, healthy, and and be awesome, because you are awesome. And you know what? My guy, Michael Raleigh, make sure y'all go. And I'm sure he would appreciate it as well. If you have the time, and I think I got it right here. Yep, this is it right here. If you have the time, make sure and go check out his Twitch channel, because he is always going live. He goes live on there fairly often. He's been playing all sorts of different types of games. Go check him out, show him some love. Like I say, he's been good peoples to me since day one. So, we have a baby Blerd that has come to see me. Oh, come here. Hey, kiddo.
So, we went to go catch some catfish, and we didn't get any.
Aww. You know what? Here, we're gonna hit that.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't get any catfish.
Yep.
That sucks. Well, here, everybody, this is my light of my life. My little darling girl. Aww. Are you being shy now? Aww. I love you, kiddo.
I too.
Aww. You want to say hey to everybody?
Yeah.
Say hey.
Hey.
Say, how are you doing?
How are you doing?
Say thank you for watching Blur Without Fear.
Thank you for watching Blur Without Fear.
Aww. I love you, kiddo.
And there's some cool news.
You have some good news?
Yep. Auntie Kissy and Auntie Mart is coming.
They're coming over?
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Want to come see?
Yeah, I'll come see you in a little bit, okay?
Okay.
I'm about to wrap up.
Okay.
Can Daddy get a kiss right here?
Mwah.
I love you.
I too.
Okay, say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
All right, now. Run along, kiddo. And can you close the door for me? Anyway, that's my little one. Just hanging out. Apparently they are back from fishing. No fish. Womp womp. Thank y'all. Like I said, that's my heart. That's my heart right there. one day maybe she'll have something of her own. Maybe one day she'll have a YouTube channel of her own. Step out on her own. Or maybe when I'm old and decrepit, she'll take over this one if YouTube is still around. Elevation Law, thank you again. I see it right here, $20 super chat. Says, black man, take care of the kids. The cuteness work, much respect. Thank you. That's my, like I said, that's my, that girl is everything. Everything to me. That's right, daughters are the bestest. And we've been raising her right. Dude. She knows her superhero. She loves her some Spider-Man. That's her favorite superhero right now. She loves Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, Ironheart, Hulk, Thor, Black Panther. Like, she's always asking to watch Black Panther. Like, she's just great. She's great. One day, she's gonna outdo me on all of it. But, I remember, yeah, man, we took her to go see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse when it was in theaters, and that was one of her first like movie experiences, and she was just blown away. So you can't buy that kind of experience. But anyways, hey, I might. You never know. I hope too. Hey, Reggie Simmons, thank you for that $5 super chat. Just to say super cute. Thank you for that. Like I said, that's my girl, man. That's my girl. Matter of fact, we're probably about to go watch. Shazam. That's another one of her favorite superheroes now is Shazam, because she saw the Shazam movie. She's been in love with it ever since. Hey, you are right. This is technically the new TV, Elevation Allah. You are correct. This is technically the new TV. So, but yeah, man, we're and we're gonna try and do some more. I'm actually going to it's actually kind of put a damper on my collaborative efforts, but I'm gonna try and do some more. There's gonna be some more videos coming. There's gonna be some more members only videos coming. There's gonna be all kinds of stuff coming. I got a lot of irons in the fire right now, and I feel like, hey, what better time to be working on content 24/7. However, it's time to get out of here, and I just want to say again, thank you everybody who gave super chats, all of my channel members, everybody in the chat right now, everybody that hit that like button. Matter of fact, if you have time, make sure to swing by the channel a little later. I'll have the outlawed video up for everybody to see here in a little bit, and I'm gonna try and put it up. What time is it? I'm gonna put it up at it's gonna go up within the hour. It's 3:02 p.m. right now. I'm gonna put it up at 4 p.m. for everybody, and yeah, I hope y'all enjoy it. It's something I really liked and I really wanted to talk about. Yeah, that's all I got. I feel befuddled because I'm just sitting here. Just in a loss because y'all are just so awesome. But anyways, I will see you all next time. And you know what? I do the whole Hogan thing on Twitch. We might do a stream tonight. Wilbert Robinson. We may do one. I meant to do one last week, and then I got wrapped up in some stuff and just kind of lost track of what I was doing. But we may do a Blerd After Dark tonight, but it'll be on Twitch. So make sure y'all remember twitch.tv/Blerd Without Fear. Matter of fact, I'm about to, if the link hasn't already been dropped in the chat, I'm dropping it here right now. Go check it out. But anyways, thank y'all so much for kicking it with me, hanging out with me. We're just sitting here shooting the shit, all that good stuff. And like I said, man, y'all stay safe. Make sure to take care of yourselves. Watch out for you and yours. Don't go out if it's not necessary. And more importantly, I love you 3000 plus ultra. Good night and goodbye.